Because
Man, you're
y'all
good.
don't promote.
No, you're good on the mic. We're not. We just talk crap.
No,
Microphone cable.
this dude, he's every night he's on TikTok hitting
You
it
gotta
up.
work it, man.
Got
You
it.
gotta work it. Like
I,
Yep.
tonight, we had this was just an hour and 21 minutes. We had 6,000 viewers. I made a little bit of
Oh
money.
my gosh.
Made a little bit of money tonight. Crap. And then we got over 120 follows. So,
nice.
you know,
Nice.
Man, that's awesome.
We are
Yeah.
we are live on YouTube as of now. I'm doing Facebook. Getting
oh
it
Lord,
set
I'm not going to talk about the monies no more.
up. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah.
Golly, man. Why didn't you tell him?
You know, it is what it is.
You see what I have to deal with?
Well, I mean, here's the deal, though. I'm not making a living off this thing for sure, and
Right.
every dime that I ever make on anything Masonic through social media ends up going to something Masonic, either a charity
Yes.
or I always have brothers who are telling me about, oh, so here's some swag or here's something like this.
Right.
And so I'll
right.
test it out because like. I did the video today showing my hat. You like my new hat?
I
Like,
do actually.
Yeah,
it's
like
a
it,
sweet
like
hat
it.
they sent you.
San Antonio Hat Company, man, they hooked it up, right? But here's the deal. I'm sitting there doing that, and I'm getting these guys that are messaging me, being like, hey, Fluff, I started a Masonic regalia company, or I did this. I'm making T-shirts or something.
Yeah.
Well, I got this really cool wallet for my birthday.
Nice.
And it's made by Genuine Leather Company. And the guy who runs it, he's a brother, but he doesn't only do Masonic stuff. He makes all sorts of stuff. And so I sent him an email, and I hadn't gotten a response yet. And I'm like, I really like the quality of this wallet. I think you make a great product. I would love to just go out and talk to people about your wallet, right? Like, I just want to talk to them about your wallet. Can you handle 15,000 new customers today?
Golly.
You know, it may hurt them. It may destroy somebody's business in the long
Right,
run.
right.
So you got to be real careful about who you promote and all that. But
Yep.
a lot of times I'll just go do this sneaky trick there because I'm also not going to put my name on it if I don't get this quick. So I'll go around and I'll use some of that money I made and buy something Masonic. If it doesn't get here in 6 weeks, we'll move on to somebody else, you know?
Right. Right.
My thing, and this I know this isn't what we came on here to talk about, but since it's been brought up,
Oh, just let the conversation flow,
yeah,
Justin.
yeah. We have had this conversation before. You actually tagged me in a video on something very similar to what we're talking about. Is that once you start providing any kind of content or any kind of product, and you start asking for some kind of financial reimbursement for your effort, people get really
Right.
get very reluctant to work with you.
Self-seeking. That's against our obligations.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
There is some major shell shock on that.
Yeah,
I mean, major shell shock. And I know it's all of my own free will and accord.
yeah.
But I put like over 40 hours a week in Masonic social media.
But
Right.
like
No.
it's been pointed out,
Yeah, that's a lot.
we will buy anything with a Sonic Square and Compass on it from some random stranger halfway across the globe that we've never met before. We won't bat an
Yeah.
eye. That's not a problem at all.
No.
But a guy at your lodge starts trying to make hats, or you have a guy that's making content and creating a membership program or selling merchandise or something like that. Whoa! This is sketchy all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all of the above.
Yeah.
You know what the big problem is with that? I think it's just a little bit of jealousy that some guy didn't think of it first.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just always that, man, if I would have known that, I'm a much better speaker than so-and-so.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is at the end of the day. And it's part of the complacency within human nature, not even the craft or anything like that, but just people tend to drag their feet and they're like, oh, I could do that, but I never do it. And then somebody does it and you get a little booty hurt. And that's what it is. But
Right.
you know, if Grand Lodge can sell these shirts, I'm not selling these. I'm not involved with San Antonio Hat Company in that way. But if I wanted to sell these, I have every right to. It has my name on it, you know?
Right.
I got a door
Right.
knock. I'll be right back. Y'all keep talking.
Oh, I thought that was my door. I was about to say the same thing.
Right. Yeah, we've run across that with a few people with our, of course, now we have hats and stuff now as well. And shirts, and we've run across that a few times with people. And it's kind of funny. I get I I got to be careful how I approach this.
Oh, Dennis, don't get me banned on YouTube now.
Right. So I no, it's Facebook. We may get shunned on Facebook.
Right.
So it's no, I won't go there. We'll just
No,
leave it
go
on.
there. No, touch it.
No.
Come on, you just a little quick. Just
about that?
put your hand there and pull it right off. Use the backside.
No. right. No, I better not right now. We've got some pretty cool stuff coming. That's some people are going to really be stoked about it, and some people are really going to be jealous, and some people are really going to be disappointed that they kind of missed the boat.
Yeah,
but it's
well,
that's a good
I'm gonna
segue.
complain
It's
about it.
coming, guys. It's coming, guys, and we're going to announce it soon.
you can't.
So,
you can't be
who's watching? Who's watching which chat? Right quick. I want to make sure that I'm watching chats. Y'all know me.
I'm on. Oh, who's in it so far?
Well, I mean, are you watching both chats on Facebook and YouTube, or?
Yeah.
Justin usually does all that.
Oh, okay. You're watching it. Then
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit back and relax and not worry about working tonight. We're just gonna respond.
We'll just go with the flow here. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have country internet, so I have to
Hey,
let Justin take care of all that kind of stuff. I can't have too many things on at one time.
aren't you a cable guy? You're a cable guy.
no.
You know how to pull some phone cable over there. Get that 56K going.
Right.
You ever seen the Cable Guy movie? Because he was the inspiration for that.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Hey,
I'm starting to look like him after this Christmas. Golly,
real quick, we got
been a good one.
19 people showing up already on YouTube.
Fantastic.
We got one like. So if you don't mind, just to help with the algorithm, if you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give us some likes. That will help promote it to other people. We can get this out.
I am a watcher of analytics. We need 17 likes and 2 dislikes, please.
Yeah. I watch analytics too, and then me and Dennis will have a meeting, and I'm boring him with data. He's like, I don't care. It's like, well, if we look at our numbers, this is where it starts dropping off right around here. And he's like, I don't care.
Well, you're right. I don't care because we have a certain niche, I guess, and we're filling it, and people are liking it. We're saying what they're thinking, and I'm having a good time.
Well, here's the deal. As long as you got one person in the room that you're helping, does it really matter?
No.
Exactly.
No, you're right.
No.
Exactly.
But
I do
also
enjoy the follows and stuff. I'm pretty stoked about where we sit right now.
I think we can also, and the same thing applies with what you're doing. The more people we're reached, the more people we're helping, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at like your lives, for example, because it's a perfect example because you can watch it happening. You got two types of people you're appealing to. Really 3 if you count the conspiracy nuts. But you got the non-Masons and then the existing Masons. And you got to appeal to both of them to keep your numbers up, to keep the stream going. And it's the same thing with our content. Like Dennis and I have had this debate because really we're trying to appeal to a specific niche of Masons. And hopefully it's a growing niche, but we're trying to appeal to that. But at the same time, I also want to be able to appeal to the non-Masons and the people that are interested because those are potentially future Masons at one point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's why I do the content the way that I do it. Right. Whenever I got on TikTok, I was about 6 months behind the curve on Masonic talk. You had other guys that were up and coming. You had Harper Crady's, you had Widows Miho, you had Crash Dog, and these other big creators who were talking about Freemasonry. But one thing that I noticed is I was looking through the comment section, and they were being asked like, "Hey, how do you become a Freemason?" And 2 or 3 days would go by without a reply.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I can answer that. And so before I knew it, I was doing more Masonic content than I was the barbecue content that I originally started out doing. And so I was like, you know what, let's make a go of it and just create a Masonic channel. And I've stuck really true to that type of content because we all like getting in troll fights. We all like getting in battles with conspiracy nuts and everything like that. But the truth is, I need the conspiracy guys. You know why? They comment on anything, no matter how ridiculous they are. You know? Every piece of engagement helps the algorithm.
Frankly,
I need
a lot of my videos on YouTube are directed at conspiracy theorists. and a lot of my TikTok videos, I tag hashtag conspiracy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get them to look for the same reason.
And yeah, and when you think about it, I've changed the way that I actively like pursue those trolls now. If I'm going after you, you got to have like at least 5,000 followers or more, because if I can get that person to engage back and comment back on a video that I made responding to them, then that puts me on their followers algorithm. It doesn't do much for me if they only have 100 followers. And that's not trying to be conceited or egotistical.
Right,
That's just
right.
It's not part of the algorithm. It's not worth my
math.
time.
Yeah, it's math.
And then I need the brothers to support me and back me up and be like, well, Brother Fluff is a real Freemason. Brother Fluff really knows his stuff. He really is a Christian guy. He really
and you got several,
believes in God.
And you have several people that are there helping you answer questions too, because you have so many people.
Moderation
constantly.
is so important in the battle.
I'm off in the comment section just roasting the conspiracy theorists.
Oh, we got commenters right now roasting us?
No. I'm talking about on your live streams. I'm usually. We do have one question. We do have one question. Selling merchandise for Masonic stuff, such as T-shirts, is it encouraged? It's not really. I'll give my opinion. It's not really encouraged or discouraged. Lots of Masons, myself included, would prefer you to be a Mason, but by that same token, if you think you're going to join the fraternity with the intent of cashing in on it, that's a big no-no.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for.
Well,
we're just trying to be that honest person in the room that you can deal with. So no matter what happens, good, bad, or indifferent, we're going to do the right thing for our brother. So like these hats that we have and mine and the cases that I sell and stuff, all that, I didn't start it to get rich, obviously.
Yeah.
Especially with all the well, we'll just leave that alone. I didn't do it to get rich.
Yeah.
And so it's
and for myself, the only affiliation deal that I have is with San Antonio Hat Company. I am affiliated by Brick Basin, but I don't know if their link even works, but I have a small affiliation deal with San Antonio Hat Company. And whenever I was talking to Stephen Cobb and Cody Moore, I literally, the very first thing that I said is, I don't mind promoting you guys, but here's the deal. If you're going to give me something back, I don't want to get rich off of this. Like, this is not going to be my main source of income. This is not going to be something that I am like really, really pushing hard. It just so happens that this is no lie. They have the best fitting T-shirts I've ever worn in my life for my body type.
This is I got one of the shirts right here.
Yeah. I mean, it fits me good. My wife likes them, and the hats look good on me. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm a creature of habit. I'm going to buy what looks good and feels good. And so I wear them every day. And so the guys have just blessed me by saying, hey, Fluff, you support us so much, we want to support you a little bit. But, it should never be looked at as, oh, I'm going to go into this as a career or an endeavor or anything like that. But at the same time, even if you want to, I would much rather give my money to a brother than to some kid in China making T-shirts at a printify shop.
Yeah. Right. And the reason why is because generally the brother's going to do the right thing at the end of the day. So
we got William William Batters here.
Whatever.
With
William, what's happening, Right Worshipful?
He's got a crew with him.
Wait a minute. Is he Worshipful Master or Right Worshipful? I can't remember.
He's Right Worshipful still.
Right Worshipful. What's happening, brother?
He's got Carlos, Oscar, Kirk, James, and himself. So I guess
wow. Thank you guys.
Wow.
And Devin McClain, who is one of our members, says, hey, he popped in too. So welcome.
I think William Batters has a pretty exciting function coming on January 7th.
He does.
Yeah, I'll be there next week.
Y'all going down
next week?
I wish Texas wasn't so big. I want to be there.
I know it's tough. It's
tough.
Dennis
will be there. I can't be there, and here's why. I mean, December's an expensive month, right? And Grand Lodge is right around the corner, and Grand Lodge is expensive too, right? So I know, right? So I really struggled with it because I really wanted to go, but it's like, man, if I go, I'll get a hotel, probably at least 2 nights. I was like, it just wouldn't work for me.
And there's going to be tattoos there.
Yeah.
And if you go, you're going to end up getting a matching tattoo with Dennis, and one day you're going to break up and regret it.
Yes.
You want to get one that matched up when he's got on the small of his back.
I want I got the left cheek. He's got the right.
It's a Masonic passport. It goes on forever.
Exactly. The gift that keeps on giving. That's, speaking of Grand Lodge, the whole reason for our show tonight was to talk about, our just some of the most awesome things we've gotten to do this year in 2022. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of those brothers that are listening with William, we went through a lot of these things together, and so I'm happy that they're on. I'm disappointed that more brothers that were with us through all these events aren't here yet, but I'm sure they'll be coming, because I know we got a few followers in your neck of the woods that just they never let us down. They're always here.
Man, I think my only regret for this year, as far as all the Masonic events and everything that went on, is that I couldn't do more.
Right.
I never regretted going to an event, no matter how much it cost me, no matter how hard it was to get in there or get all of the, figure out how to plan it all and all of the formalities of everything. I wanted more at the end of every event. And it was such a cool year. Yeah. It was really, really cool.
Right. Or Most Worshipful Brad Billings. I got to say, he's going to be a tough act to follow. I hate to put it like that, but we've had a lot of grandmasters through the years that have done a lot of really good things. But I'm the one thing that I noticed this year that I was very glad to hear, because in my neck of the woods, well, like yours too, it's pretty country. So there were a lot of people that were worried about how this year was going to be, and by mid-year, I had guys, 80-year-old Masons, saying they've never seen Freemasonry in Texas as big as it has been this year.
Well, look at the Alamo.
They've never seen all the events be as big, even in all of the time. Yeah. And these guys, some of them, they got made Scottish Rite Masons with 200 guys.
Yeah.
So all these guys, are coming. Even the old guys I'm sorry, my mentor brothers are coming to me and saying what a great job that Brad did, and Most Worshipful did. I apologize.
There was a few older brothers that I talked to, and they specifically talked about the Alamo. I mean, they were probably there the first time around, but they said they never saw this many people there.
Hey, let me interrupt 1 second, right quick, because one of the things that happened throughout my travels of the year is we ended up meeting this North Carolina boy, Matthew Holland, on TikTok. Say hi, cool. Matt.
Yeah.
And he's from North Carolina, and from what he saw on social media and TikTok and everything like that, he decided to take it upon himself to fly down to Lubbock, because I believe, Matt, you tell me if I'm wrong. I'm putting him up to the speaker so you can hear him if he says I'm wrong. You did say that there is no masonry quite like Lubbock Masonry. Am I right?
Don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. Hey, Matt, I'm on the. You did. I told y'all he did. Hey, check us out on Masonic Improvement Podcast on YouTube or Facebook. We're doing a live podcast right now, so check us out and send us some questions, brother.
Yeah, Matt's famous now. He's on TikTok.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Sorry, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, guys.
Nice.
Like, I'm sorry, and I'm not meaning to change the subject a little bit, because I do want to get into travels, because, San Antonio was freaking awesome. Like, nobody's ever going to take that experience away from me.
Yeah.
But this is what social media did. I would have never met Matthew Holland. And for those of you who don't know, he is a brother from North Carolina. He's had cerebral palsy. He has cerebral palsy. He was a Shriner kid growing up, and he whenever he was getting all his surgeries and stuff, he straight up told his dad. He said, I think it was his 8th birthday or something. He goes, I want to be a Freemason. What do you want for your birthday, son? I want a petition. And so he asked for a petition every year, and he got one on his 18th birthday.
Nice.
And, and the kid is just an inspiration. Has a true story. And then he wanted to see what Freemasonry was like in Texas. So we brought him down to Texas, and, we gave him a good time.
Very cool. Cool.
He got tired of Mexican food. I will say that.
It's just a shame he came all the way to Texas and all he saw was Lubbock.
It's the prettiest part of Texas, though.
Well,
The best sunsets.
Right. That's awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the best things that's happened to us as well. Is we've had 2 or 3 people that have actually gone all the way through, from EA all the way to Master Mason, from talking to us on the show.
yeah.
In fact, y'all were talking algorithms earlier, and I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm the guy that responds to all of our questions that we get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Boy, do we get some doozies.
Yeah.
I mean, you get it right up front to where you can just ignore them. We get them. We get them to where they're there until we, swipe or whatever, get rid of them. But yeah, that's one of the very best things that happened this year for me was being a part of this platform and being able to meet brothers. We've got brothers that listen in Australia, and in the UK, saying, "Hey, why don't we do it at 8:00 in the morning, 10:00 in the morning, so we can see our time?" It's like,
Right.
oh man, but our guys would all be asleep. And
Man,
we got Holland Woodworking in chat here.
That is Matthew Holland.
Yeah.
That is Matthew Holland. Nice. So, you said that it's really cool when you bring EAs and Fellowcrafts and, they go through all the degrees, right? Mm-hmm. And then they get independent bodies. And then I see it in waves. It's really funny. I'll get so many brothers that are like, I'm an EA this month. Oh, I'm a Fellowcraft this month. And it's really, really cool. Y'all know what's really getting me? Because I'm just a young guy. You guys are the old farts, right? Y'all are my Masonic mentors, right?
I don't know who farts the most dust, but yeah, right.
Hey, well, y'all are grumpy past masters for what? The third, fourth time? I'm not even through with my first time yet. The really cool thing that's been hitting me here lately is the amount of guys that we've been able to inspire to get back in lodge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like these guys who have been out of the fraternity for 10, 15 years. And then they're messaging me and they're like, "Hey, Fluff, you know that you actually like, you did light that spark in me. And I am going back to lodge and I am bringing friends with me and we're going to change this thing and get it working."
There you go.
Yeah.
That touches me more because I'm the newbie.
That gave me goosebumps. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
Yeah. We were at the backyard last Grand Lodge. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the brother's name. I don't know if he told me his name. And a brother came up to us and he's like, "Hey, I just want y'all to know I've been a Fellowcraft for like 20 years."
Yes.
Wow.
And saw your content,
awesome.
and it got me back. So I'm a Master Mason now, and that's what it's about. That's what it's all about.
That shook me there. I hadn't told anybody that. Yeah, that's the first time anybody's. Yeah,
that's a really really
touching.
cool story.
Yeah,
that was pretty touching. Firsthand, getting to get that brotherly love. That's what it's all about right there.
But
there was a guy last night that hit me up and he was like, "Man, I was actually raised in New York City, and then I moved down to Texas. I hadn't been to lodge since I was raised. Would
I've
Texas
heard that
accept
a few
me?"
times.
Man.
I was like, "What are your dues current?" And he's like, "Yeah, I kept them current. I don't know why." And so I can't remember where he was. I think he was Plano or something like that. I was like, I got some lodges for you.
Yeah,
that's easy.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know quite a few actually.
Right,
Here you go.
right.
That reminds me of those old Pace Bacani sauce commercials.
New York City.
New York. He was raised in New York City.
Oh man,
Get a rope.
put that on a T-shirt.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That would be good.
So Matt asked a question. Matt Holland, in your opinion, is the compass a working tool?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He said
I think everything you are taught in masonry is a working tool. There's so much symbolism in all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why I say keep it between the points. That's what it's all about. Keep it between the points.
The freaking door that you knock on is symbolism.
I was I've been listening to an esoteric podcast, and they were talking about, they weren't talking in relation to Freemasonry, but they were talking about checker payments, and specifically in Hollywood,
one of my favorite,
like in movies, and often they use like the Matrix as an example, and I think like Beetlejuice, but there are certain parts in a movie where it's a transition point for the main character. And often they'll be in a room or on a checkered pavement. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn. Because really, that's what the checkered pavement, lodge is supposed to represent too. Yeah. That's a transition point where there's no turning back. You're changing. you make a decision right there. Either you freak out and run out the door, or you say I'm becoming a Mason.
And in some grand jurisdictions, you really freak out and run out the door, or you say I'm.
So
and I can't wait to be in one of those lodges also.
can I be completely honest with you guys?
No.
There is nothing more disappointing to me than if I walk into a lodge room and there's not a checkered pavement floor.
Yeah, it is disappointing.
Like it's sad. I don't mind carpet. Like, don't get me wrong, but I want a little bit of checkered pavement around the altar.
Right.
Is it that hard to go to Home Depot, get $20 and just cut out some squares, throw some linoleum down? That's all I want.
You can buy carpet. Yeah. They make carpet with checkerboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's in fact that's something that we were talking about in Goliad, because we've done all this remodeling of our lodge, and we've kind of done it period. You know, we keep it real because it is a very historic, the most historical building really around. But anyways, we've been talking about that, and we're looking at making a tapestry, old school 1800 style, to put underneath the altar and kind of tack it down or something on the hardwood floor, you know, just like they would have done back then. That's anybody can do that to just step up their lodge just one little notch, level up, brother.
Well, I mean, I don't want to
fluff.
Chalk paint would be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Fluff,
awesome. Right before a lodge, and then just
because you ever wonder how they met in taverns? Anybody ever ask that? Like, how do they meet in taverns? Is that chalk
all the time,
brother? Is that chalk?
Yeah.
Tim Smith.
And they always cleaned it up right after.
Oh, no good from Tim Smith. He's the man who raised me.
Says, tell Fluff I'm going to make him an esotericist yet.
No, you're not.
That's why, if he's the one that raised you, that's why he's watching us, so that he knows how to school you.
And then William Batters,
because you're the wild child.
William Batters
We're the old guy.
Says Goliad Lodge is beautiful. Now, Rat Marshal, sir, it's not good to make up things like that.
Well, let me tell you something.
Well,
I've never been to Goliad, but Perfect
Go
Union 10's got it going on.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Good Lord, that's a beautiful lodge.
Yes, they do. That's one of the things that I'm most fond of this year is the brotherhood that has established over the past few years in San Antonio with me and all those brothers there. Man, I got to tell you, there's quite a few precious moments in my life due to those brothers, and I just wanted to make that quick shout out, because if you're going to shout out to Perfect Union, you got to talk about all those brothers there, and Nat Washington and Triune, and and Albert Pike, and also Davy Crockett, even with those old parts. We love Keith Reynolds and Bradley Kohanke and Chris Williams. We love them. We love them.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to tack on real quick, talking about the checker payment. I went to Sol Ross Masonic Lodge in College Station, and they have a very nice. It's carpet. It's a carpet checker payment, but it's such high quality that I actually had to go up there and look at it. I mean, it wasn't shiny or anything like that, so I knew it wasn't pavement, but it looked very good. It's like photorealistic.
That is a lodge that is on my bucket list. Like,
Sol Ross.
I try not to go near Aggie land too much. There's they call Freemasonry a cult, and let me tell you something about Aggies. My dad worked for the A&M system for like 21 years. Those guys are an extra level cult. If you can't step on the grass, what can you do? So I'm glad you didn't step on the carpet. You might have offended Reveille.
It wasn't Sol Ross Lodge. Oh, geez, I can't remember the other. St. Albans Lodge, which meets in the same building.
Yeah,
They're part of the reason they kickstarted me coming back to Freemasonry, because I had heard good things about them, and I was kind of I was just in a lull, like I was just done. But I heard good things about them, so I was in College Station for some other business, and their meeting just happened to coincide, and I mean it showed me what a lodge could be, what a state of meeting could be like, and so they're doing good stuff there for sure.
Well,
hello, Adam Olivier. We were just talking about Sol Ross Lodge.
that's the same thing with San Antonio. I mean, I know here in Lubbock in 93A and 93B.
Well, Lubbock is the same thing.
Well, we're trying. You know, I don't know if
Yeah.
we're doing things right, but we're trying.
Right, and that's the thing. That's the thing is
Yeah.
that there's so many pockets where you can see that the Brotherhood is going for it.
Yeah.
They're doing it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
To me, it's more about the whole community of Masons and the whole working relationship between all the organizations, trying not to step on too many toes. Like if that a lodge meets on this night, don't hold your floor practice on the same night.
Right.
Let the brothers come out and support each other. Let them come out and experience the events. Appendant bodies be watchful of other appendant bodies. And it takes. I mean, that's an army in itself trying to take care of that stuff. But what they got in San Antonio, Anthony Trulio has sent me Masonic calendars and Masonic events and all sorts of stuff. They have it to a next level that I swear it's probably like from Grand Lodge, right?
Yeah.
It just it blows my mind.
That's because there's so many good mentors there, and I think that all of us need to take some value in the mentors that we have and the ones that are out there available to us.
Yeah.
That's what makes that town. This is a generation that was fed properly by the mentors.
Yeah.
It really was, because we've got the best of work. We've got the best of, and I say we because I'm, brother from another mother, but we have the best of a lot of things in San Antonio, and it's because of those mentors. And I know there's that everywhere, and Lubbock is the same way. I've seen, you guys, if y'all didn't have the reassurance from your mentor age, y'all wouldn't be able to do the things. Because face it, every business has a churn. There's a certain amount of time it takes for things to happen.
Well, I mean, we had some giants in our area, and COVID almost took us out. I mean, we lost Bob Clemens.
Oh yeah,
huge name in the Lubbock area. We had some other brothers that were unfortunately taken down with it, and it got to the point. I remember sitting in lodge. I was a newly raised Master Mason. It's probably still newly raised technically. I mean, I was raised October 13th, 2020, but this is probably February of 2021, right? And I was traveling to another lodge, Lubbock Lodge, and Lubbock Lodge is filled with older gentlemen. The average age in that lodge is probably 77, 76, and they were doing a entered apprentice degree. And one of the brothers just physically couldn't get through conferring it. And I remember this guy, he's a newly raised Master Mason as well, but I consider him to be a mentor because he's an older gentleman. He's older than me, Eddie Harris, wonderful guy. But he looked at me and he goes, "We got to learn the stuff, brother. Mm-hmm. If we don't get it from him now, we'll never have it."
Absolutely.
And I don't know why that clicked my head, but I was like, 1, I got to travel. 2, I got to start participating in these degrees. And 3, I got to learn something before I forget it.
Yeah.
It's
a time sensitive thing that we're all facing. I wanted to share a pattern that I've noticed just listening to you guys talking and reflecting on my own experiences. And that is when I went inactive, probably 08, 09, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I looked out across Texas and I could not see anything that was offering what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. Right? It just wasn't there. And the resources that we have, like the podcasts we have now and the YouTube channels and stuff we have now, that wasn't there. And listening to you guys talk, I'm noticing a trend where we have these pockets of Freemasonry in Texas that are starting to shine brighter and brighter and get more and more intense. And that's where things are really happening at. And so it's exciting to see over such a short period of time, because I think each of us could just list several Masonic lodges or even districts that are really sizzling right now, that are doing good things, that are doing the right thing to put the fraternity back on course. And so that's just really exciting to me, especially just thinking back to a time when I felt completely lost and I couldn't think of anywhere Masonically to go, to have these conversations, and us listing like 10 to 15 different places right off the top of our heads throughout the state where things are really moving in a positive direction.
Well, I got to thank you for that, right? And I mean, here I was, a fellow craft mason, stuck in COVID land. You know, right where Full Underwood shut down lodges during the COVID. I had nowhere to go, so my only outlets were online. And so whenever I'm looking through Facebook, when I'm looking through Google and all that stuff, Masonic Improvement kept on pushing up. I'd only sat in 2 stated meetings up to that point, you know. Well, 3 if you include proficiencies, but I'd really only sat in just a handful of stated meetings. And I listened to your first one, why you left Masonry, which is obvious because that was like a huge viral hit for you.
Yeah.
And then secondly, just going through it and listening to a few episodes, and I noticed, I was like, well, my lodge isn't doing this, or my lodge does have this potential, but we're not doing that yet, or my lodge is doing this, this, and this. And so whenever I was finally raised and I started attending meetings regularly, I would go in and I would talk to the younger brothers. I'm like, hey, have y'all ever heard this podcast? Have you ever thought about doing this or doing that and doing this? And at first you did meet with some resistance, right?
No, yeah.
Like there's a huge amount of resistance. And then it was just like, you know what? Let's just throw stuff at the wall and see what works.
Yeah.
You know?
We could talk about things now, and I've noticed this in my own experience, but we could talk about things now in Lodge that would have just got shut down immediately 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff a lot of the things we talk about, let me back up. So what really got me back to the fraternity was I was doing research, and I discovered like just traditional observance movement, as it was called at the time. And it was about really just basically making Freemasonry what I had always envisioned it to be.
Make Freemasonry ancient again.
Yes.
I want that so bad. Oh.
Yeah. But
I need a committee on work member who is willing to work with me on some stuff. If you're out there, let me know. I got plans in 4 years. I just need 1 degree, guys. 1 degree. Come on, Cal.
Nice.
Tim Smith says, Masonic Improvement in Fort Worth 148 are great influences on me when I started brainstorming ideas. Yeah, 148 was very impactful on me when I started the YouTube channel. Because
you know what's really cool? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Fort Worth 148.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I saw what they were doing, and I was like, if they could do it, I can too.
Yeah.
It was both Justin and Fort Worth 148 that got me to start talking, and then Justin and I got to know each other, and he liked my snide comments. When I wasn't in any official form, and so he thought I would bring spice. Now he regrets every minute of it.
I think a lot of the conversations that we started having, go back to those traditional observance concepts and things like that, making Freemasonry ancient again. A lot of brothers were frustrated, and they just kind of stepped back. And once they started hearing other people talking about it, not just here,
and
but
they're not
places,
alone. Yeah,
they realize they're not alone. I think that pushes the conversation harder, because go ahead.
We all get told when we're sitting in the ante room getting prepared. We are all told that, hey, don't you worry. This is the way that George Washington went through the degrees.
No.
I mean, how many times have we heard that?
I don't think so. I don't think George Washington went through the degrees the same way. Do I think that the concept and the idea and what was at heart was there? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. George Washington is a brother, and I have no doubt in my mind, a reservation, that if I walked up to him and he was still alive today, that he would shake my hand as a brother and be okay with that, right? He would recognize me as a brother. Yeah. But we did not go through the same ritualistic experience. And, so here's my deal. Just in case there are some cows out there who want to know, I either want to get back and have the most ancient degree that we can legally put on, or I want to find one of the ancient books and put on a fake degree on a brother who's already made, and let's just see what it looked like, because I think it's our right to know.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of my 2022 points of interest this year. That was one of my very favorite moments, was doing the representation of the master's degree in Austin.
Yeah.
At when
that's
when
the one with all the incense and music and everything, right?
Music and incense. Yes. It was the original style of masters, and it was real orchestrated piano too. It wasn't just up anything. I mean, it was impressive, and they had that old lodge room at that Scottish Rite in the old theater. And
my top signer happens to have his PhD in organ.
Oh,
So he's a full-on organist. If I could set this up, and then in daylight we have a harpist, a concert harpist. There's so many cool things I would love to experience with this. I just got to figure out how to get it going.
Just get like a really big, like a spacious lodge room, kind of like the one they got at Fort Worth with the command.
Well, I'm thinking about doing it in our Scottish Rite banquet hall.
Yeah, that's the perfect size.
Have music,
Yeah.
have everybody walk in one at a time, like in a line, and take their places.
Have a good steak dinner afterwards. Charge for the meal. Have steak dinner, and then possible a little bit of libation, depending on what the rules are and everything.
Yeah.
But
No,
I mean,
wait,
just
we can't have too much now. Come on.
No. I mean, this would be sponsored by the Scottish Rite at that point.
Oh,
Like we turn the blue light off, right? Turn the blue light off, red light on. Let's go for it.
Yes, right, and that's very cool because as a Scottish Rite, they can make that. And I gotta say, that's one of my favorite things about Scottish Rite in Lubbock is that y'all know how to work that building and make it work for some good Freemasonry and some fun.
Oh, there's some pushback involved. You don't have to be the weeks before, the weeks after.
Right.
We'll figure out how to have a good time though. That's for sure.
Going back to what you said about George Washington, like we didn't get his degree, but we also didn't pay what he paid.
That is 100% true. Do you guys know how much he
Get
paid?
what you pay for.
And I did the math on it. He paid. Oh man, it was like
For
3 shillings, 6 pence, and something. Right?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I did a
It was
video-
something crazy like that.
I did a video.
But it
doing
ends
the
up
same
being
thing.
like $3,000.
Yeah.
In today's money,
And
is what his degree fee was.
It doesn't specify if it's just his EA or it's for all three.
It was all 3 degrees
for all
from
three?
what I've been able to find.
I mean, either way, it's way more than we pay now.
It was expensive.
Yeah, one of the first posts that I ever posted on Texas Facebook page that Justin jumped onto, it was about the dues of my lodge back when they chartered, and I had the bylaws from back then, and I had those figures, and I told people, straight up that, even in my little town of 1,900 people, and back then it was maybe a little more than that, but not much more than that. Even in my town of 1,900 people, they were paying close to $1,800 all said and done to become a Mason.
It was a month's wages. That's
And-
what the
and-
common
yes,
theme was across
yes.
America. A month's wages, a whole month's
Yes,
wages for your yearly dues.
Yes.
And I guarantee you that any of those brothers, I guarantee you that was a Grand Lodge thing at that time. That was expected, and if you're gonna be for real, then yeah.
Talking about all this, something that grinds my gears is, and I'll
I
just
didn't
use
know
it-
your name was Dennis.
yeah. Speaking of things that anyway, but the
All that backwards.
I know of a lodge. I won't even be specific. I know of a lodge where the worshipful master wanted to have good meals for every meeting, right? And the lodge had the finances, so he pushed for the lodge to have the meals catered, and no one complained about the food, right? No one complained about the food, but everyone complained that the lodge was spending money. But then when you look at the kitty, the donation jar at the end of the meal, there'd be like $30 in it. And it'd be like a couple $100 to cater. And so everyone started throwing a fit. But the thing is, like, everyone wants nice things, but no one wants to pay for it. They don't mind the food. No one complained about the food. They complained about having to pay for it. You can't get a good quality meal for less than $15-$20 anywhere. And so it's things like that. Like as a whole, we have to be willing to say, if we want nice things, it's not going to just come out of nowhere, right? And we shouldn't charge other people for our hobby. Meaning, just because we want nice things doesn't mean we should go and raise money to give ourselves nice things.
Yeah.
Like for that same amount of time you're out fundraising, you can just do your job and donate the money.
Well, can I tell you something else that they're missing out on as well, and that a lot of lodges are missing out on?
Sure.
Instead of serving hot dogs and spaghetti dinners that are just cheap and quick to make,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
the catering thing is a great option. Mm-hmm. And here's where they're missing out on the opportunity and complaining about price. Every Facebook group in America, they have a town and foodies. In Lubbock, we have Lubbock foodies. I know in Dallas, there's several food groups and restaurant groups and stuff like that. We're just getting out of a pandemic, guys. There's some companies hurting for money.
Yeah.
You reach out to them on those groups. You say, hey, I would like you to cater. How much is it going to cost you to cater? A lot of times they give a good deal. Mm-hmm. And then you go after dinner, or you go to lodge, have dinner, take picture of that restaurant, taking care of your lodge. And you take pictures of the brothers enjoying the meal, and you take pictures and video of everybody around having a good time. And then you make a Facebook post, whether it's good or bad, mm-hmm. whatever you want. And you say, hey, thank you, Tom's Taco, for catering the meal for, McKenzie 1327 Masonic Lodge. Our brothers sure do appreciate your kindness.
You're touching you're touching two different groups when you do that also.
There you go. You're making brothers happy because they're getting a good meal.
Yeah.
And then two, you're actively recruiting and showing that your Masonic Lodge is active. And then you know what else you get? Other food restaurants and companies, they're reaching out to you saying, hey, you like Tom's Tacos? Have you tried Jeff's Cajun food? Mm-hmm. Well, no, we haven't. All right, we want to catch y'all next month. Now your stewards and junior wardens don't even have to think.
See, I'm always huge on self-promotion, but I never had thought to do like what you're suggesting. Like I'll take pictures of the meal, but it's like I never think to like tag the caterer or caterer. So
it's all about those touches.
Yeah.
How many followers does that caterer have?
Yeah.
If you touch them, you might have just shown like 400 people that, hey, this Masonic Lodge exists.
And
they're eating good food and having a good time.
This is the last thing I'll say about finances is I will, thank you. But everyone wants to be
for this 5 minutes
on the level, right?
Yeah.
As long as the level is the bare minimum. Like there's the level up here, but everyone wants to be on the level down here, like that.
Well, you can see that in the dress code, right?
Them fighting words.
I honestly don't care. I'd rather a brother be active, but I mean, you can see it in the way people carry themselves to lodge sometimes. It is what it is. I would much rather have a brother there. I would much rather have a brother willing to contribute and be active than necessarily have his money. But I think a lot of that deals with communication, right? Are you showing up to lodge kind of not well dressed because you just got out of work or because you're having to go into work? Or is it just because you didn't want to wake up early in the morning or you didn't want to go home and take a shower after you got off work? Are you not willing to pay the higher dues because you truly can't afford it? Is there any sort of assistance we can provide you as a lodge, as a brother, to keep you active and keep your dues kept up? Or are you just struggling in credit card debt? You don't know how to handle your finances. What is going on in your life? But at the same time, like, it's up to us that when the brothers do come to us and tell us their grievances for why the dues should be higher or lower, that we at least give them a good enough answer to be able to respond back and work with them. But a lot of times I don't think that if you're not going to pay, then you can't be a Mason. Well, that doesn't work. He's already taken the obligation he has in life.
I'm of the opinion, it's just mine, Masonic charity should not end at the lodge, but it should start at the lodge. And if you have a brother that's in a financial issue, he should be the first person we help before we go anywhere out in the community. But
nobody can afford it because they don't charge the dues to be able to afford it. That's the problem.
Yes. I will say this. I will say this. $200 dues, $16.60 a month, right? And you could do it that way. You could set up now where people could pay, have it set up to come out automatically per month or whatever through Square, right? Let's just say $17 a month. A lot of people, if you look at all the bills people have, they pay a lot more for a lot dumber things than Freemasonry, right?
Lot more Starbucks, pack of smokes,
a lot more mundane things, right? Yes, exactly.
Lottery ticket.
If you do $400, if you do $400 a year,
that's my retirement plan.
That's like $34 a month. That's still highly feasible. Now, $200 asking me for a $200 check once a year, asking me for a $400 check once a year. That's a little bit rough, right? I can see how that could be rough. But if you have the option to set it up monthly, that's how car salesmen sell their cars. They don't tell you
Easy
how much
payment.
it's going to cost
That's
up
what
front.
it's all about.
Yeah, they tell you what it's going to
Yeah.
cost per month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the way I do it personally, because I'm in enough appendant bodies and planning on joining more, and I really want to get some endowments, not so I can get out of paying dues, but
Right,
so I
right.
don't have to worry about little things like
If
having
you
to
did
rely
it on
others.
time, yeah. Right.
Yeah. You know, planning on going to Grand Lodge this year. I still don't have my dues card with me, even though I'm paid up. But you know, here's the
I'll
deal.
vouch for you.
Like, you appreciate it, brother. No, I think it's the way I do it is I take $10 a week out of my bank account and send it to Acorns. Now, it's dumb. It's probably the dumbest way to invest, but it's in a different account that I can't just grab the money out and use, right?
Yep.
So $10 a week goes into Acorns. And you know what? I've been doing it for 6 months now, and there's about $700 in there. So I got enough birthday money this year that I finished paying off the rest of my dues. So what we're going to end up doing is just letting it float. And then hopefully this time next year, we'll have $2,500 and we will go ahead and get some endowments, get rolling on that ball. But it's just about planning for the future. We got to stop living by the seat of our pants. And I think a lot of lodges are doing that.
Yes, they are.
You know?
Well, it goes back to the time when, you know, they paid more to get in.
Mhm.
They paid more to support their lodge. And then on top of that,
And it was harder to get in.
Well, yes.
And
they-
now we're getting
then
people
they-
making decisions that probably wouldn't have made it in at one point anyway.
Mm.
and then they built
That's
the
rough
lodge.
right there. That's cold blooded.
Right.
I
And
mean,
then
I
they
don't think
built-
I'd be a Mason if I petitioned back in the day.
I
I
don't
don't think
think
I would
I
have made
would.
it.
I might not have been able to. No.
And I'm being honest.
I had a lot of fun.
I'm being honest about this.
I was a fun teenager.
if I was reading my petition, I probably wouldn't let me in when I
Mm-hmm.
petitioned.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, not that I did anything bad, but I was unremarkable. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like I didn't have.
When
anything
is an
going.
okay man a good man? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll
What differentiates a good man versus an okay man? Like I know there's guys I like hanging out with in the real world.
Mhm.
Do I want to hang out with them in the lodge? I don't know. What are they going to do for the lodge? What are they going to do to make the lodge better?
Yeah.
What are they going
Right.
to do to help make me better? And what can I do to help make them better? I don't know.
Right.
Well, I'll share
Right,
this, and
I
I
agree.
don't necessarily think it's the right approach, but I understand the reasoning behind it. And I've shared this before, but my granddad shared with me that when he petitioned his lodge, he got blackballed the first time, and he and another guy turned in the petition at the same time, and they both got blackballed.
Mhm.
And my granddad was having a conversation with this guy that also got blackballed. He's like, "Hey, are you going to repetition when you can?" He's like, "No, screw those guys. I'm done with it."
Yeah.
And then my granddad petitioned and got in. And he came to find out that was the practice. Like the first time you petitioned, regardless of who you were, you got blackballed. And that was what separated the wheat from the chaff. That was the first step. Like the people that are like, "Oh, screw it, it's not worth it." Those are the people that are just window shoppers. They're the people that just have a casual interest. And as soon as it gets difficult, which it will once you become an EA and start having to learn things,
Yeah.
but as soon as it gets difficult, they're done with it. And I'm not saying that as though I agree with the practice. I think it's pretty extreme, but I understand where they're coming from.
Well, we can't do that in today's society, right?
No.
We got to have that instant gratification today. If we don't have the instant gratification, we can't move forward. So I don't think it's good to blackball people, and I don't think it's good to make people ask 3 times they can be a Mason or whatever archaic tradition that this lodge holds.
Yeah.
The important thing is that in today's society, we have to have the most informed candidates coming to that door than we've ever had before.
Yes.
Why? Because
Yes.
of all the conspiracy theories. You got all of those that we got to debunk and make sure that people know that the secrets of Freemasonry isn't going to be some world-changing secret that's going to completely just alter every asset of their life, right?
But I think-
Yeah, it's not gonna open Pandora's box of wealth and
Yeah.
fame and fortune and
It's just not going to do that.
I think
Just
that
not
kicks
going
us-
to do that.
I think that kicks us in the butt at the same time. And here's why. Because you're absolutely right. We have people petitioning now that are probably more informed about the fraternity than the people conferring their degrees. And we are, or at least they think they are, right?
Well,
but we
are we ready?
Under delivering what we promise.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And you know what? That's something that I deal with on a daily basis, going out and promoting like I promote, because here, I mean, guys, I'm blessed. I live in a great Masonic community. I have great mentorships,
Yeah.
friends, and things like that. I mean, there's not many guys that are living the Masonic year that I lived this year.
Right.
It's just not really out there. And most Worshipful Brad Billings definitely tried to make it possible for everybody, but not
Yes.
everybody was about that. So I do fear those guys who are asking me, "Hey, Fluff, how do you petition a lodge?" Well, you do this and this and this. Okay, I went to my lodge. How many lodges you got in your town? Well, we only have one within 100 miles. Okay. I don't know how that lodge is going to react. I don't know what kind of culture it has. But if you want something to change, you got to know you can change it.
Yeah.
So you get in, you have to be that ember. And I hate placing that on the new guys because I know that lodge will burn them out. I know that lodge will do it. And we'll have another Justin Jones doing a Why I Left Freemasonry.
Right.
But at the same time, if they want it bad enough and I inform them enough and then back them up on social media, that's another great tool about social media.
Yes,
We
that
get
is.
these brothers who need the extra esoteric information, who need the extra brotherly love, who need the relief, who need the truth. And we provide that thousands of miles away. And so that's another great thing about the platforms. But at the same time, yeah, you were absolutely right. They get in, it's not what they'd expected, so they don't ever go back. And if that's the way it is, then, God will it. But at the same time, for those who can see the potential in bettering themselves and making themselves a better man, we need to give them the most information that they can get and just say, hey, just in case this happens, you can still do it. I'm still here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler Smith from my lodge, the best lodge in Central Texas.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm sure.
All right.
I've been around, man. He says, honestly, if I had been blackballed, I would not have come back. And now I'm super active in my lodge. Yeah, and that goes back to what we're saying. Like, it's just the way we are today. Like, I don't think it's a matter of persistence. I think I'm speaking for myself, but people today, we move from one thing to another, right? And if it doesn't work out, then it's just not gonna work out. It's just not for me. I'll try something else.
Yeah.
Now let's look at the other side of that also. Let's look at the lodge. So if that brother had all these signers, these top 3 signers, if you're a top liner, you better know that guy. If you're the second line, if you're the third line, you ought to know who you're letting in Freemason.
Yeah.
So if there is that discouragement, those 3 guys felt like that brother could do it. Those 3 brothers decided on their own that they thought he was worthy.
Yes.
So if you're willing to sign that petition, then you should follow up with that brother and say, hold on, you do get to come back in a couple of years, keep coming to our events and spending time with us, make these people see that they made a mistake. And now that's the other, I've seen that happen. We've made a Mason after 2 years at my lodge since I've been in Goliad, and I've personally seen it, and I was his top liner too.
So Devin McClain says, I think it's better to have an extended visiting period versus a blackball test, which can deter potentially good brothers. And I am not advocating blackballing people just as a test. I'm just sharing the mentality and the story. But I think you're absolutely right, and I've been an advocate for extending the petitioning process.
We've spoken on that a lot.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the way that I've been taught, you should know whether or not that candidate is going to be a blackball before the balloting process ever begins.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
That's what the investigation committee reports for. That's what all of that's for. You should know. And it shouldn't be just a test to see trial and error there. And I completely agree with the extended period of investigation, of visiting the lodge, because out of all the brothers who come and petition my blue lodges, it's amazing to me that they'll walk up to me and talk to me for 15, maybe 30 minutes, right? Because dinner and breakfast is only an hour long. I go to a morning lodge and an evening lodge. They'll come up to me 15, 30 minutes, and then they'll be like, oh, can you sign this petition? No, I'm not going to sign the petition. I don't know. You made no effort to get to know me,
Right.
Let's talk about this some more. Let's come back. But you get some of those guys that is like, well, I've known him. He's good people. Well, then you need to get somebody else who's known him to sign.
Right.
I've been at lodges where people have come in, just walked in, and no one knew they didn't know anybody there, and they visited like you said for 10 or 15 minutes, and then he left with everything signed, just going home to fill it out the rest of the way.
Yeah,
No one knew
no,
him.
you
It's
can't-
like
you can't do
that's
that.
why no, you can't, and that's why we're having an issue that we are. Tyler Smith says, "I wish that there was a class on running nonprofits. I personally would love to be more involved in the business part, but I have a medical background.
Officer leadership training.
Officer leadership training, yeah, that's very helpful. But the thing is, Tyler Smith, if you go to officer leadership training, they're going to tell you a lot of the same things that I've been telling you too. So I'm just saying, man.
Because because he got them from me.
I'm not talking just to talk to you, man. I'm not just trying to push my agenda. I'm legitimately trying to help the lodge with
Tyler, I just want you to know I have taught you nothing in your life. All right? Nothing. Don't blame it on me.
Yeah. Sean Rothberg says, Tyler, check
What's
out
up, Sean?
Sean Rothberg, yep. He's gonna I don't know if he knows this or not, but he's gonna be coming back on the show here pretty soon. So
oh good.
We're gonna talk about some esoteric stuff with him. So
yeah,
you might not be interested. It's gonna be esoteric.
No, I'm bouncing out of that one. Guys.
But
we're gonna talk about the Kabbalah.
But
here's my deal with esoteric masonry. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut into Sean's comment just real quick.
Sure.
Esoteric masonry on social media, it's too much for me, guys. It's too much. Like, I don't mind giving a little trickle to Cowans and eavesdroppers. Like, I don't mind a little trickle because I believe that even the smallest amount of light will attract a mosquito, right? But whenever you get into the esoterics and you're pushing it online on social media and all that stuff, sometimes I just want to be like, stop it.
Let me
Nobody
reply real
needs
quick. Before you say Sean, I want you to give Sean's statement, but I have to reply to this.
Well, I'll say before I give Sean's statement that my personal belief is a lot of this information, like Kabbalah and all this stuff. This is stuff that's available to everybody, right? It
Sure.
belongs to nobody.
This is what the young guys are looking for.
You said you're gonna wait your turn.
Some of them.
I said after him, not you.
I haven't finished Sean. I haven't finished Sean's comment. I'm purposely holding you hostage with Sean's comment so I can get a thought out.
Sean, I love you, but I'm gonna put this in.
But anyway, Sean says, Tyler, check out Half Price Books for books about writing nonprofits, and then give a small lecture to your lodge about your findings, which is great. Yeah, let's do our own research and share it with people. I think that's fantastic.
Sean, I also have some stuff that can help you with Excel files, spreadsheets, and stuff, to where you can put in your numbers for your lodge and see your finances and see if it's basically profit and loss for you for your lodge. And I've developed that and be happy to share it with you.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say,
Sean Rothberg says, Dennis, let Justin talk. Dang it. That's
Sean. That is not nice. I was the one who wanted you on the show.
Dennis. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I got a response for you. I already know what's coming out of your mouth. I got a response.
You beder write it down because you'll forget by the time it's done.
Yeah, by the time I'm done. You don't know how this goes, do you? No, but seriously, the esoteric stuff. Here's the thing, guys. And brothers, put your brotherly love ears open. Put those on. So here's the thing. Exactly. Right. Here's the thing. What we're discussing is just one thread,
sure,
of all the light that Freemasonry has. So that's just one thread, and it's also a thread that's tied to the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And there's young people that are growing up on the internet that are already thinking these things and wondering about them and learning about them online, and then they're wanting to come to us.
Yeah.
And say, what does this mean? And we better be able to answer. And that was in the last part of the Grandmaster's message this past 6 months.
Yeah.
He stated, the last thing is be ready, because these guys are coming. And that's the truth. That's a fact. I've seen the numbers. It's happening. I can't believe it's not happening more in Lubbock. What's wrong with your school?
We're cool. That's what's up. No, here's the deal with it. I don't have any problem with esoterics. I will get in some deep conversation with brothers all the time. I really don't like them because I'm just a simple-minded man, right? The problem with talking about it online and getting in deep conversation with it while wearing a hat or light is that, from what I've seen on the social media side, the moment that a handful of people start experience esoteric light and information, and they see this behind it, they begin to think that all Freemasons think the same way.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
They have
That's
no
fair.
idea that the checkered floor can mean a different thing to me and a different thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea that the obligation can be different to another brother. And the moment you say something like Kabbalah, which, you know, can be taken 1,000 different ways online, because it seems like everybody's forgotten how to use the English language.
Well, because everybody's attached. So many people have attached their own religion to the tree of life, which is the Kabbalah. So that's the problem. And so you say that, and everybody's like,
yeah. So in some cases, you're feeding the spooky fire to some of those groups.
Oh yeah,
right.
In other cases, you're igniting a little bit of interest. But I'd much rather, you know, somebody come up to me and is like, so, you know, what do Freemasons think about the Kabbalah? Man, we actually have a really cool Masons night, a cigar night. Why don't you come out and talk to us about it sometime?
Yeah.
There you go.
So instead of doing it online, I actually invite people to come out and talk. You know, and sometimes that is a bummer. I'm not going to lie, because whenever you're going out at night and it's like, oh, this is a Mason night, we're going to drink our whiskey, we're going to have our cigars, have a good time, and all of a sudden you bring somebody who's not a Mason, it's like, well, we can't talk about the cool things we wanted to talk about. Like we hadn't talked about it 1,000 times before. But, you know, I think there's a certain way to handle it and give it. Yeah. And sometimes on the online platform, it's just not right. And there's always that one brother who wants to make it seem like he knows more than the next brother.
Right.
You know, as much as I love them, and they will go on and on and on and on.
Don't talk about Dennis like that. He's right here.
Well, I'm just tired of messaging Dennis and being like, dude, are you going to talk about the entire ritual, or are we going to leave a little bit secret here?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I get where you're coming from, and both of us being on TikTok a lot, I can see examples of what you're talking about, because you got people that are like, oh, it's not Christian because you can have more than one holy book, or tell the truth about check your payment. Tell us about that. Yeah, you see stuff like that. It's
Gilgamesh.
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 Someone told me, commented the other day that the G stood for Gilgamesh.
And Gilgamesh is Nimrod. And I'm like, Gilgamesh is Mesopotamian. Nimrod, I don't even think they existed in the same time frame. I mean, it was close, but I mean, that's like 6,000 BC. Can we even be sure?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
How do we date that? But they come up with these theories, and good Lord, they go off with it.
Extremists, for lack of a better term. And anything at all they could take out of context, they do.
They will.
Yeah.
And so when you provide them something to take out of context, bye-bye.
But on the other hand, are they really the kind of are we does it really matter what they think? Are we
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because there may be a timid guy like me. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but before I was entered, I had a freak out moment because I did what you're not supposed to do. I looked at YouTube, and I didn't get into any of the guys that were talking about ritual or anything like that. But I remember this one guy who actually looked normal. That's one really big thing for me. If a conspiracy theorist looks normal, I trust him more.
I've never seen one that looked normal.
For Masonry regarding the internal, not the external, that was a really kind of like crisis in my mind. But this guy looked normal. He seemed like he had a decent job, like a decent career.
Was that the police officer?
No, it was a guy out of Maryland. And he was like past master of some lodge, but they kept on referring to him as the past worshipful grand master. And so when I became a Mason, I understood that terminology was incorrect.
Yeah.
But he was reading out of the Duncan's Monitor and all that stuff. But anyways, I was listening to him and his explanation of why Freemasonry was satanic. And so I freaked out and I called my pastor. And I had like a 2-hour long conversation with my pastor. But yeah, no, I think that's important because there are guys like me who are strong in their faith, they're devout in their faith. My relationship with God is more important to me than a fraternal status. You know, some of this stuff, if we openly have guys that are like, oh yeah, the Kabbalah is tree of life, and we think that this is that and this is that, it might push those guys away because all they've ever heard about that is the bad side, the side that hasn't been explained, and their mind is not ready to reveal what that really is.
Sean Rockwell, never mind. Right. We can't have you come on now. I'm sorry, Sean. But
no,
I see where
y'all have them on.
Well, I see your point, and there's in our rural or semi-rural areas, you see a lot more of that, happening, and that's why there's such a big stigma also on the other side that Texas Freemasonry is only Christian, because it's not, and we can't, and that's my thing, is I just cannot tell anybody to that they should I can't tell anybody to that they should believe that Jesus is the only way if I think that God's bigger than everything we know.
Well,
and so
for any Christian
who am I to tell anybody? And
for
and
any Christian that says that, like, the biggest thing the Bible teaches is don't judge others. Like, really and truly, that's a huge thing. If that wasn't a huge thing, that's we wouldn't have the mountains.
My takeaway was
Sermon
don't
on
be
the
a
Mount.
jerk.
Don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Don't judge others. I mean, Jesus said that the two greatest commandments: love God with all your heart, mind, strength, body, soul, strength, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second commandment is to love your neighbor as God loves you.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you got to let people form their own relationships with God.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And
that's it. People have a journey.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately by the end of that journey, if they're meant to get there, they're going to get there. So who am I to tell you that, what I believe, and I go to a Baptist church, and what's funny is that it was founded by a charter member of my lodge. Yeah. But who am I to tell anybody they're going to go to hell or whatever?
But Freemasonry in North American Freemasonry is predominantly 70 to 80% Christians.
It is.
Now, if we go to Japan, even though they obligate themselves on the Holy Bible, I actually looked this up last week. Japan uses the Holy Bible to obligate their Masons on, but they're mainly Buddhist, and what's their other main religion? Shinto.
And then, oh my gosh, Dennis.
You go to India, it's going to be Hindi.
In southern Asia, that's what it is.
In UGLE, it's a complete melting pot of faith.
Yes.
But we represent that, and I don't think we should be ashamed of being part of the fraternity that represents the Christian arm of it, so to say. But at the same time, our fraternity teaches us not to judge the external, to judge the internal. Well, if you're a good man, you obviously have God in you, because the Bible itself says that God is love, God is light, God is knowledge.
Well, at the end of the day, if I'm going to have someone say he's Muslim or Jewish or Buddhist or whatever, and he's going to come take an obligation, I want him to take that on the book of his faith, because I want him to actually feel obligated.
Well, it's got to mean something.
Yes, it has to mean something. If I put my hand on a book of faith that is not mine and take an obligation, do I really feel obligated at all? Do I really? I mean, I don't believe.
Well, even the simple things. When we say great architect of the universe, I know who I'm praying to. Do you know who you're praying to?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm not praying to the great architect of the universe. I'm praying to Jesus Christ. That's my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
Y'all might believe it's something different. It's up to you.
Well, exactly. And what's cool is that you can have 50 people in the same room
praying.
That have
they're all praying. So Devin McLean, from my personal experience, most people in society just shrug at any mention of esoterics. So I'm making a point not to speak about it unless they explicitly ask to do so. Yeah,
I think that's a great way to go about it, too.
I think if you go around shouting esoterics at people, you're going to come across as a nut anyway.
I am so smart. Light is photon and wisdom.
There was another one. Tyler Smith says, and I agree with this wholeheartedly, the thing about esoterics,
somebody's brown nosing,
is they have to be delivered in digestible amounts. I have been to lodges where there's a 30-minute esoteric conversation. If you get lost at any point, you're lost. That is Kabbalah for me. Like I've tried to read several books on Kabbalah, and I get to chapter 2 or 3 and realize I missed the bus somewhere in chapter 1, and so I'm not gonna reread the whole book. I'm just gonna walk away from it. And so
Hey, speaking of the bus, did you guys enjoy that San Antonio trip?
What San Antonio trip were you talking about?
The Alamo.
Oh, I didn't go to that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't go.
You didn't go to Alamo?
No.
Oh
man, that was one of the.
I was just trying to segue out of esoterics. I want Seth to have something to talk about next week.
I was totally stoked about all the Masons in my Scottish Rite Cathedral, where we study so much esoterics that
Oh my gosh.
most.
Dennis's third eye has been opened.
I'll bring it right. I'll bring it right.
You dadgum Scottish Rite guys. Man.
Don't challenge me. Don't challenge me.
I'm not in Scottish Rite yet. All right. I'm not there. I don't know when I'll be there. I do want to become a Scottish Rite Mason. Like, don't let that dissuade you. At all.
Yeah, right. I did it 10 years after I was, so I get it.
But I am in line in every organization I belong to right now, and I know if I join Scottish Rite,
yes,
I'm going to get another line, and I gotta pull back a little bit because, especially like Lubbock Valley, they meet on the 4th Wednesday. Well, between the 3rd and 4th week of my Masonic schedule, I have 3 days off, and that includes Sundays.
Wow. Nice. Nice.
We're a little bit busy at the end of the month.
To my day. Yeah.
We're busy at the end of the month, and I want to give it the full time and devotion that it needs. You know.
Yes.
So one of the people in chat, his username is Stamina Slurp, so we'll just go with that.
Hey,
but
I like it.
Respectfully, he has a question. He says he could be wrong, but wasn't there a Freemason text that says, "Don't cast pearls before swine"? Can you elaborate? I think that's actually a biblical quote.
That's a biblical. Yes,
it's it's in Matthew 5. It's
good.
Judge not yet ye be judged, and then it goes down towards the end there. Cast not ye your pearls to swine, lest they be trampled on, and they turn on you and devour you like dogs.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. That's a ritualist right there.
No.
Bluff,
this is
bluff.
Hey, this is honestly what it is right here.
Yeah.
This is honestly what it is right here.
But you just showed yourself. All you got to do is apply yourself, and you got it. I know.
So you know how Justin likes running around with trolls and telling them no, that we're not satanic, we're not this, we're not that. What I like doing is reading Bible verses. So they'll cherry pick a verse, right? And they'll pick any verse. So I'll read that verse, but I'll read the whole chapter. And I've been just dropping videos that are just reading the entire chapter.
Yeah.
And it works. They leave me alone.
I'm about to do the same thing because I was reading through Secret Teachings of All Ages, and there's a whole paragraph where he talks about Lucifer. And it's like, why don't the nut jobs ever cherry pick this quote? Because I'll tell you why, because if you read it, it's very obvious that it's not on a pedestal, like it's speaking poorly of it. But it's the same thing with Morals and Dogma. It's cherry picked. Oh. They pick a few words out of the entire paragraph and cherry pick it.
There's one sentence that has Lucifer in it, and that's their go-to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The annotated version says Lucifer twice in the book, guys. We can't lie.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. That's the book I have too.
Good Lord, man. I'm not even Scottish Rite, and I've read that whole book.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting until I am. But I do have a copy. Devin McLean says, I'm Hindu. Luckily, no one treats me any different. Which makes me feel good, and I get to learn from everybody's own personal experiences, which
Very
is one
awesome.
of the main parts. Here's the thing, Devin. And this is my opinion. If I am sitting in a lodge with you, and say we're perfect strangers, okay? And during our conversation, I find out what your religion is, our conversation has probably gone the wrong way in the lodge. That's just my opinion. Now, if I know you from somewhere outside the lodge, I don't think it's something that should come up in a lodge environment. And so my point is, like, of course everybody's treated the same because it's not something that we really talk about at the lodge.
Well, that's why he's a future grandmaster and I'm not, because I can absolutely talk to you about it in lodge, because I think that, you know.
Well, you also want to talk about politics in lodge.
I don't. Gee, that's right. Because we ought to be more involved in our community.
Man, I think Freemasons, we should be political, and I think we should be religious, just not in. Well,
not in a stated meeting.
No.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
With the door shut and the sword outside? No.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at.
No, but
if
we all assume that we come in on well-founded faith, right? We all assume that. Every man has a faith that comes through that door because we've declared that we've had a faith. Yeah. So outside that door, at the dinner table or at the parking lot meeting, or, you know, at the bar having libations, or whatever community event you're doing, it strengthens you as a brotherhood, as men, to
To
talk
learn about
about
your
what
brother.
has made you firm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Learn
What
about
is-
it. Learn about it.
your life.
Debate it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But no, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
talking about in a meeting.
All within due bounds, and all with controlled passions, of course.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't want to have like a whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing happen outside where we're casting down brimstone and fire. But it's important to know your brothers. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
how can you respect another man if you don't know the inner workings of his heart and mind?
That's exactly right.
No, I'm talking about
And
like
how
if,
can you?
if I go into a meeting and I sit down next to a guy and we're about to open or something like that, we're having a conversation. Like, probably shouldn't be coming up at that point. But yeah, like
Well, see, I wouldn't have a problem with that right before lunch. Not at
Yeah.
all.
Just one of you sit in the north, one of you sit in the
As soon
south.
as soon as the gavel drops, then yeah, that's a whole different story. But
Well,
yeah,
that gavel
I would-
represents something completely different. That gavel
Exactly.
represents respect and reverence to the master at that point.
So says
Right.
Spangler
No.
says Justin Jones, you're not Scottish, right? No, I'm not.
No, he is not.
No, I'm not.
Woo!
No, I'm not.
I'm a
I will
loser,
be. I will be
I
at some point, and I will join the one that is superior to San Antonio.
Hey, let's join together and do a let's do some videos on it at the same time.
Well, I'm going through Dallas if I go through it. I mean, I
All
will
right.
go through
That'd
it.
be cool.
I will
Different
go.
perspectives.
I'll go through
Yeah.
Dallas with you. Why
Let's
not?
do it. Let's do it.
It's a lot better than San Antonio and Dallas. Airfare's a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
Let's see here.
but
Devin McLean again. I agree. It's not really something. Talking about religion again. I agree. It's not really something that should come up because it can switch in an instant to awkwardness. Though I do know some lodges where religion is commonly mentioned, making the atmosphere off.
I think it's only off if you want it to be off. And if it feels so off, then you need to bring it up. I think I'd feel comfortable bringing up anything to any brother. You know, we like, for instance, I dropped a video that was talking about Joseph Smith one time. One lady wanted to know the relationship between Mormonism and Freemasonry and, you know, the temple rights and all that stuff. And I was very clear in the video that, you know, all I know about Mormonism is from what I've seen on YouTube. And I give, you know, the Freemason conspiracy trolls so much crap about what they know from YouTube. I can't provide a valid response on this, but I do know that Joseph Smith was raised in 1842. He redid the ritual and temple work in 1843, and by 1844 he fell out a window and walked into some lead, you know. And that was my honest response about it. Now, the Mormon brother didn't quite appreciate that response, but he knew what I was doing, and we just openly talked about it, and I think we're all good.
Sean
And I have a
Rothberg-
dog that's about to kill himself on an electrical cord. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Hold on one second.
no problem.
Sean Rothberg brought up South Park, and every time someone mentions Joseph Smith, I think of that same episode, and pretty accurately breaks down Mormonism in my opinion, but to each their own. At the same time,
Well, and in reality, if someone were to bring it up in lodge, you know, I would acknowledge and probably engage for a later discussion. It's not like I would carry on a discussion talking about, you know, the ins and outs of the religions in lodge right before it opens. You know, I do have that respect for the lodge as far as what we're there to do and what we're a part of at the moment. So, you know, I just want people to know that I'm not saying that I would, you know.
it's too late. You already did it. You already said
Yeah.
it. You did the
It's on the
damage.
internet. It's forevers.
Yeah, foreversies.
You'll never be Grandmaster now.
How you doing it?
I knew that the day I joined the show.
It takes a shot.
We're marked. We're marked at this point.
Yep. Brandon with the coward sword. Did y'all watch that when you were a kid? Man, I watched all the Great Westerns every Saturday.
What are you talking about?
Something old.
You had cartoons back in the day?
Those weren't cartoons.
They wrote them
man.
in.
Those were-
in phone books and flipped the pages real fast.
Oh, I thought
Y'all
it was
are
like
not Texas.
like where they had like the shadow characters and they just kind of made them do stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's just wrong. I forgot the generation I was talking to. Golly. But you other folks know about Brandon. You know, he was branded, but he was a good man.
So Tyler
He was a
Smith,
good man getting better.
Tyler Smith says, I'm almost certain that York Rat is 100% Christian. Um, it definitely
No.
has some very strong Christian undertones. I would say it doesn't get 100% Christian until you get to commandery. And even
Yeah.
then, I'd say it's
Correct.
like 99% because they always say you just have to defend the Christian faith. You don't have to be a Christian to be.
Well,
Right.
I
Now
got
they say that.
so I'm like really bouncing Commandery right now. Like Commandery is my jam. I love Commandery, right? In chapter and council, it's not that way. Chapter and council is literally the expansion of your Blue Lodge degrees. That's
Right.
it finishes that story and it continues on with it, which is freaking amazing,
Yeah.
in my personal
Yes.
opinion.
Yes.
Especially
I
when
agree.
done right.
Our York right in Hillsboro is bouncing, man. It is
Yeah.
bouncing, and we're trying very hard to get a commandery at Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Because we got like 12 guys that want to go through the orders.
Well, all you got to do is call me. Maybe I'll help you start a commandery. Let me be a charter signer. Let me be a charter member of that. I will jump on that all day.
Okay,
There would be
I'll
there
probably
would be
reach out
nothing
to
more
you.
honorable to be
because that's
than-
probably the
than
route
to
we're
be a
going to
charter
take.
member.
That's probably the
That's
route we're
what's
going
up.
to take.
That's
that
what's
would
up.
mean you'd have to come visit at least once, though.
I'll do it just for you.
I
Just to sign my name on the charter.
drive
We'll
a
be
hard
good.
bargain.
Every lodge needs dues paying members. All right. But no, in Commandery itself, in respect to Grand Commander Rick Jernigan, eminent Grand Commander, that man is a devout, passionate Christian soldier for Christ.
Yeah.
And I've only been in Commandery with him as my Grand Commander, so it's not like I've seen a whole bunch of other past Grand Commander messages. And I know Chance Chapman, he's going to be a great Grand Commander, and a few of the other guys coming up. Gary Rock, the Grand Senior Warden of Grand Commandery, he just joined my Commandery at Lubbock 60 last week or the week before last. So there's some really good guys that have a deep faith in Christ and all that. I don't honestly know if any of them are going to be as outspoken and as deliberate in
Active.
their message for Christ as
Right.
Jernigan was. But I got to tell you something. There will never be another Grand Commander like Rick Jernigan.
I tell you what's great about
Ricky Cox, maybe,
Yeah.
but Rick Jernigan, he literally traveled from Houston to Lubbock to put on an order of the temple, back to Houston, put on another order of the temple, and then made it all the way up to somewhere like Border to deliver a message.
Well,
And
he-
this was within 72 hours. The man is nuts.
He came to
And
our
he's,
York right 2 weeks ago. He gave a
Yeah.
talk about starting a commandery. Granted, he lives pretty
Yeah.
close to where we're at because all the real movie shakers of Texas live close by to me.
Well,
But,
let me know.
but,
Let me know. I may seriously want to be a part of that because
I
I love
took you
Commandery.
seriously, so
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
shake you down for sure. But
Yeah.
but he does something that I think Brad is also, or Most Worshipful Billings is also very good at. He knows how to use social media.
Yes.
Jernigan is on
Right.
TikTok. He's on Facebook.
I taught him everything he knows.
Well, and
I believe it.
I
and
did.
To
On both of them, I believe it.
but I think
me
between
and
him,
Ricky, we've been working them.
I think between him, you, and Ricky Cox, that's why Commandery is getting popular again.
Now, if I could get Chance to do it, oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
I gotta get
I don't
him
know
on
if
board.
I don't know if that's the only reason Commandery is becoming popular again. I think that there's a good forward motion on it, but I think that it's kind of it goes along with the generation that's coming in now, that's stepping in. We're wanting a little bit different of an experience than what we were introduced to when we came in, and so now we're coming of age and are working through it and supporting. Fortunately, we have these mentor brothers that are, like I said before, that are throwing it out there, and we're ready to take it and go with it. And,
Well, I can give you my.
that's why I'm moving to San Antonio's York Rite as well. I'm moving my membership so that I can help out down there.
Yeah,
I can give you my honest opinion on it if you'd like, and I think a lot of it has to deal with the festival styles of degrees. A lot of people like going through the Scottish Rite, getting that 1 through 32 in 1 or 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But they're kind of yearning for that individual degree experience. And what a lot of York Rites don't know is that, putting on York Rite festivals and things like that, it's not as impactful as, taking it 1 degree at a time and everything. And so some of these York Rite chapters and councils that are being forced to go 1 degree at a time, the candidates are more stoked about it.
Yeah.
They're learning more
Right.
about York Rite.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, oh, we hadn't experienced this before. So, it's not saying that the Scottish Rite is sucking or anything like that. It's just the idea and experience and I don't know. You got to have value.
I got
right?
all my York Rite.
You gotta have
everybody feels that. Everybody feels.
I got all
And
of
I went through a festival in York Rite with 8 guys, and I was knighted with 8 guys, and it didn't touch me as much. But in our York Rite bodies in Lubbock, we're working really, really hard to have individual degrees. We still throw a festival every now and then, but individual degrees and experiences, and being repetitive to where we know the degrees. Yeah, that is what is winning is over.
We have a festival coming up at Hillsboro, but we're working to get like what you're talking about.
Yeah,
we were doing them a few at a time, just 1 or 2, like the shorter.
I think it's good to have a mixture, because you can't work yourself to death by trying to give everybody that individual degree.
Right.
I think
if you can make it on this Thursday, you make it on this Thursday. If you can't, make it to the next festival.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I gotta deal with something real quick.
Who's got the comments now? Everybody write the funniest thing about Justin that you possibly can.
Absolutely. Just if you like a funny statement that I've ever said about Justin at any time, and you can find it on social media, please post it at this moment. Thank you.
Somebody make Justin memes. Like somebody just start screenshotting.
Sean is the meme guy in this group. He always makes a meme for me and Justin.
This is Justin looking at the comments in the YouTube section.
Right. Exactly. That's so funny. Well, what's interesting is that you bring a good point to Freemasonry in general. That's something that there's been a long debate on for years. And there's a Grand Lodge up in the Northern American area that has a 1-day Master Mason's degree.
Ohio, Indiana, and Idaho, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm just not down with that, because you're losing a lot of that personalized experience. Mm-hmm. Now with in the York Rite and the Scottish Rite form, though, I think that there's so much information packed into each degree, it's almost impossible to unpack if even at one at a time, or if you do like chapter one day and then do council the next day or whatever. I think that there's too much to unpack, so it really does take years anyway.
I'm gonna agree with you there, but here's the thing that
But I do like that person.
I've studied a lot on this, right? I know it's crazy to think that I study anything, but I studied a lot of it. Did you know that the retention rate numbers are almost the exact same percentage of how many Masons stay Masons and active in lodge from Mason in a day classes versus the proficiency way that Texas does?
Really?
I've heard that.
It's just about 13% both ways. Yeah. So it's not necessarily the way that you receive the obligation. It's what's happening to you after the obligation.
Really, it is the lodge.
And so, the lodge. If you look at that in the York Rite channels, and you have to have, a lot of the York Rite bodies are struggling. I know, because I'm part of a struggling York Rite body. We're not as bad as we were. We're getting a lot better, and I'm very, very proud of it that we've literally gone from life support to being able to tick on our own here. But listen, if you have to have Grand Line officials and, committee on work members and all these people to come in and support your degrees, get these people in and obligated, and then you never rely on the companions, on the brothers, on the Sir Knights to learn the work themselves.
Right.
Then you're not doing anything.
Right.
And I think that's just what's happening in the Mason of the Day.
Yes.
It's usually held by a Grand Master, a Grand Line. Well, the lodges are like, well, we don't got to learn it. We'll just let somebody else take care of it.
Right. Because we have David Rogers out there.
I think
because we have David Rogers, who loves the fraternity so much that he'll go anywhere to help the York Rite Masons.
And David Rogers is literally one of the coolest guys I've ever met in my life.
Oh yeah.
That man is amazing.
Hopefully he'll
Rock
be.
on,
hopefully
Dave.
we're having a dinner on Friday for York Rite, and hopefully he'll be there at Hillsboro.
Oh yeah.
Give a little talk. But
tell him Fluff said what up.
I think, and I know if you look at retention rates, they're about the same. Mm-hmm. But I think there's two things that result from this kind of approach, and the first is, what is quickly and easily given away is also quickly and easily discarded. right?
Sure.
And I recognize what you're saying. Like if you look at people that go into traditional way versus the 1 day classes, but really the traditional way is not a 1 day class, but it's also breakneck speed. Like they get you in as fast as they can. If you look at like what certain lodges, like I know Fort Worth does, where or Waco, where they have like we talked about, a more rigorous process, a lengthier petitioning time, you have a much higher retention rate doing that. And I think that creates a lot of value having.
Well, it's a fine balance.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Because I'm always telling people online, you don't want to just know it here, you want to know it there. And a lot of lodges, they'll pair. So I've heard this a lot, especially from Texas Masons who just recently gotten in. Sometimes they get a mentor or an instructor that they just don't agree with.
Right.
Whether it's hard to meet with them on schedules, whether it's hard to meet with them on schedules, or whether it's just hard to deal with them personally, whatever the case may be. Then I'm like, okay, well, have you gone out to another brother? We all get that EA charge that tells us that, hey, any brother should be willing to work with you. Have you gone out to search for another brother?
Yeah.
Or, hey, Fluff, I'm not getting the proficiency. It is too dang hard. Have you gone out and talked to another brother? Because your cadence and your speech tempo may be different than mine. The way you pronounce it may show another pronunciation or another punctuation there that makes it click in your head. Like, there's different styles of learning. There's different people to work with there. And so I think a lot of that's important too. Who are your mentors? Who are your instructors that are hooking you up?
That goes back to the initiatory experience and the investigation, because you should, in the time that it takes for the lodge to get to know if somebody's worth or able to get the degrees of Masonry, they should be able to kind of fit you with the right personality through that experience. The lodge should know you well enough to where, and you'll also see those bonds form during that process if you stretch it out just a little bit.
That's kind of interesting. Should your top signers be your instructors?
Maybe.
I mean, if Bob Johnson says that he's known you for 10 years because y'all go to the same church, I'm assuming y'all probably have church lunch together.
I would say one of them probably needs to be the future instructor, and then the other two should be checking up on that person also as a backup. If something's not going right.
But you're getting into the whole definition of being a brother anyways. I mean, the moment you take that obligation, you're a brother.
Right.
And every Bring Back Brother program in the world and any idea like that, I'm not, I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying it's dumb or something like that. We should already be doing that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have a brother who's coming to lodge. You need to know why he's not coming to lodge. And that's one thing that just blows my mind. Well, I hadn't talked to so-and-so in 10 years. Why not? Yeah. Have you reached out? Have you been a brother? Why haven't we heard?
And don't give them a hard time when they do show up.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing you can do. If they decide,
sometimes it's funny.
I'm going to come back.
Well, when it's a Shriner and I see him at the Shrine meeting every month, but I never see him at Blue Lodge, I'm going to make fun of him,
I get it.
Adam Olivier makes this comment. And this is actually an interesting segue to something that's been on my mind lately. He says it's so difficult to make steady meetings worth going to for new and old brothers. Mm-hmm. And so here's just kind of where my mind has been lately. Steady meetings are business meetings. Like we talk about, we want education and things like that, and we should have education. But I think steady meetings are business meetings because here's the thing: if you do a steady meeting and then you try to have education, say you have someone come talk for 20, 30 minutes, that's too long of a meeting, right? You're still want to handle your business, and now you're looking at, usually most lodges that are well run, they finish their business after about 45 minutes to an hour, right? And then after that, everyone's tired, and now we're going to do a 20-minute education. Like I've seen this before. Like we sat at a meeting, and the business took longer than usual. We had a guest come, and he gave us talk.
How many people you got in the room right now, Justin?
Right now we got 14 on YouTube and 6 on Facebook.
All right, it's late enough that there's not enough people watching. They're not going to steal this fluff idea.
Okay.
Change the way you do meetings. Change the way you do meetings. Seriously, this is the way I'm planning on doing it whenever I get to the East. Okay, and I say when I get to the East, right? this is the way I'm planning on doing it. Dinner typically lasts an hour. So at the end of at the last final 15 minutes of dinner, I'm going to hold some sort of Masonic education that will promote the lodge to our guests, visitors, and family. Okay,
That's
this is
a good
what your lodge is doing. This is how we do it. This is why we do it. Then you get into the meeting time. You open up the lodge. For the first 15, 20 minutes, you continue on upon that Masonic education. You go deeper, depending what degree you're opening in, and you talk further about it. Then you put the lodge to recess. We have the recess button. Why don't we ever use it? Put the lodge to recess. You dismiss any brother who needs to go home and cannot be around for the stated meeting. You have a well written down agenda shared with the brethren, posted on the door on the wall outside of the lodge. That way they can see any discussions, any topics that may need to be voted on or discussed. And then the brethren who have any sort of conviction or real reason to stay can stay. When you open the lodge back up, you talk about the stated business, you get it done, and you go home.
Yeah. So
Change the way you do the meeting.
There's several things
Period.
I like about what you're talking about. Like, that's kind of where I was going with education, is doing it during dinner.
Right.
Or host a separate event specifically for libations and food and education.
Well, lodge isn't about the four walls in the lodge room, guys.
No, it's not.
Right. Correct.
The other thing,
And that's what so many forget.
the other thing you said is posting the minutes. It's like, man, that was one thing St. Albans did, was they passed around a copy of the minutes, and then when it came time, you've had a chance to read them. Are there any changes? And that was it. That was it.
Well, they still got to be read. The important stuff's got to be hit. But should you? I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's important to get up there and publicly announce every stated meeting.
Well, actually,
the lodge
yeah,
was opened and due in ancient form at 7:35
Oh,
p.m. And the
by law, they do not have to. By law, they do not.
They don't have to be.
They just
They
have
have
to
to
be.
cause them to
They
be
have
read.
to be available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to read it if we can have it available to be read.
Yeah.
Now there is
Right.
some stuff that needs to be hidden and needs to be read in secret.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But that needs to be a topic of agenda, not necessarily
Yes.
a report of the minutes.
Correct.
You know?
Well, if it's secret, it shouldn't be in the minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
True.
Stamina Slurp, is there a Facebook group that you guys could recommend for a guy who's curious about Freemasonry?
No.
No. And the reason I say that is I'm thinking of my Facebook groups, and I would not want a non-member seeing the kind of drama that goes on. Just to be straightforward with you.
Well, and there's just guys that can't keep their mouths shut. You don't want to ruin the secret for
Right.
yourself. I mean,
Right.
let's just be honest there. There's it's amazing to me how we live in a society of Masons who, couldn't tell their own grandkids or kids how to become Freemasons, but you put them on a Facebook group and they will tell you every damn secret they possibly can. I don't get it.
No.
Right, right.
If you're interested,
Let me write out the obligation while I prove to you how you broke your obligation.
Yeah. No, Stamina, the best thing you do is, like was said, if you're interested in learning more, take that first step.
Find
a
lodge.
local lodge, find when they meet. You show up 30 minutes before the meeting. Introduce yourself. Tell them why you're interested or that you would like to join.
Bring your family. Bring your kids.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't do it to the first. I
and-
wouldn't do it to the first one.
And frankly,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely before.
draw a circle. Say, this is how far we'll travel. Find a few lodges if they are, and visit them all. And
Oh, that's
If
good.
you're in a big area.
if you
yeah.
get a bad vibe because you think you're too young or something, don't go back to that one. Check out the others until find one you're happy with, and you go from there.
I have a buddy who's gone to every lodge in and outside of Wichita Falls, like within an hour and a half of Wichita Falls, and he's found a couple that he's liked. He's hit some personal problems where he thinks he's not ready to join, but I'm like, brother, you are so ready to join. Yeah, I mean,
It's funny.
The wrong lodge can make or break your Masonic career.
Yeah.
And if you don't connect with it, then you're not gonna find what you're looking for.
The living thing. This is all a living thing.
RTZW states in Arkansas it's difficult. We're talking about calling down. Since granted, I have no clue how they do it in Arkansas, so I'm just in the dark as you guys.
Well, they don't spell TikTok wrong. I know that.
But
wrong.
in Arkansas, it is difficult since we have to open on the EA, dispense to Fellowcraft, then Master Mason if we have the members required. It takes about an hour to get through this stuff. through the required.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, yeah, unless you're
Well, not an hour to get through the ritual, but
so like what he's talking about is we used
is
to
an hour of reading through cipher books though? That's my question.
yeah, that's a good.
I can't stand reading cipher books.
But back in the day,
know the word or not.
we had to, and I'm just giving a history lesson that you probably already know this, but we had to open everything on master's degree. And so if, say you had a called meeting and you wanted to do a entered apprentice, have someone turn in their work, you would open the master's lodge, call it to refreshment, call it down to an EA lodge, do the catechism, close the EA lodge, call back to labor on the master's degree, and close that lodge. And so, if you would, and I've seen this before, I've seen lodges where they turn in the work and have a degree right after. So, if you wanted to do your degree right after, you'd have to open a master, call down, open a fellow EA, turn in your work, close the EA, open a fellow craft, and so I think that's kind of what he's talking about. That's my point. Like you have
it can be a little bit, yeah.
I mean,
but
I've been a part of it and I've done it, but I don't like doing degrees right after proficiency.
I don't either.
That's tampering with some untempered mortar there, in my opinion.
There's a There's a lodge.
Not trying to throw shade, but that's just
And this isn't the same thing, but this is something that they've been doing it for a while and it aggravates me. There's a lodge and it's not far from where I live, and they have a tradition of doing a New Year's. They have a tradition of doing a New Year's master's degree.
Oh, that's cool. It's
cool, but regardless if you're ready or not, you're getting that master's degree on New Year's.
No, that's not cool.
That's not cool. Like they usually try to time it right, where you get your fellow craft like a month or two before, and then you do your master's degree on New Year's, and it's like you're ready, regardless. Like you're ready one way or the other, and I just don't agree with things like that. It's not exactly what you're talking about, but it's like
it's not a race. Race.
Well, it's not a race, and it's yeah. So, Arkansas.
But I do
like memory.
I do like cool degrees like that, especially if you're in the community. That inspires some lodge competition right there.
And look at the Lexington. We do the master's degree on the Lexington.
Oh, I gotta get out to that.
Yeah. You should definitely go in 2023.
I'll contact you on 2023.
So what's up with this Battleship Texas? Are they going to have master degrees on that?
Cool. I'm wondering what's going on because of some underlying things.
That is one that I tried to find the funds to join that lodge, but I ran over a $1,300 cell phone with a go-kart twice.
Oh, man.
And I couldn't come up with the money.
That's funny.
So Tyler Smith, I know you're getting ready to leave, but he made a comment, and we see this a lot. I emailed 20 lodges, and Hillsboro was the only one that got back to me. I come from a non-Masonic family and never even met one before I had my meet and greet.
Yeah, that can be tough.
And we see that a lot. We have emails associated. We have emails floating all over the place that we never check. And then someone reaches out to us and we drop the ball.
There needs to be a social media teacher for the Grand Lodge of Texas and every grand jurisdiction, I personally think, because one of the greatest tools that we have in Freemasonry today is social media.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things against us that we have is social media, because people are looking for that instant gratification. If you don't respond to a Facebook message in at least 2 hours, they've already moved on to 2 or 3 other Masonic lodges.
Yeah.
And if your Masonic lodge only has the bio of taking good men and making them better, you need to change something because you're not memorable at all.
No.
Right? Like you have to have a thumbprint. You have to identify yourself.
I'm giving serious thought, and I'm shooting myself in the foot even just talking about it. But I'm giving serious thought in creating and not to rip the name, but creating like a Freemasonry 101. Like a course that any lodge can and should implement, especially with their new members, because we get so many new people, like they've been Masons 4 or 5 years and still don't understand like some of the basic stuff, and we need to I'm a very step-by-step person, right? You do your master's degree, you turn it in. If you want to do any independent bodies, go for it. But at the lodge level, your next step is like learning like the basics. Why we do things the way we do. Why are our dues what they're set at? Why do we have our bylaws where they're at? Why do we meet on it? It's just laying out like basic good practices that it's universal, and just make it where you can present it in 10 minutes or do like a small class. And we need to all get on the same page, because like what you're talking about, it's terrible. It's sad.
Well, in your lodge, let me ask you this: in your lodge, what is like the master of ceremonies or the marshal actually do for regularly stated meetings?
Nothing.
Why not let some guys wear those jewels?
Do you have
the young guys and give them a task, and set up a trustees board? That way, it's not on one guy running all the passwords for all the social media and internet websites and whatever you may have.
Yeah.
Don't just leave it on one guy. Put it on, put a little bit on the secretary, put a little bit on this new marshal that you just installed. And then, maybe a past master or the current worshipful master.
Yeah.
And you just say, hey, all of these messages, they got to be responded to within 24 hours.
Right.
We need to update. We need to take pictures. You don't have to post 50 pictures from one meeting. You can take 50 pictures of one meeting and post them throughout the month.
Absolutely.
But
and a perfect example is like Hillcrest. They definitely follow that kind of a tactic, and people could really learn from that by visiting other lodges. There's lots of lodges out there that are doing things right, and if we travel a little bit, we can.
Does Hillcrest have a Masonic Facebook page?
No, I'm talking about. Yeah, they got Facebook. They got a website.
They have an awesome website, I think.
Yeah, I'm on the Hillcrest.
It's on a. I mean, they
Dude,
got some crazy
and
digital
they will
pay
answer.
and everything.
They will answer within like 10.
They're almost as bad as a car dealership website.
They really are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They almost have that instant messaging thing going on because and they're knowledgeable brothers. And they're checking you out before they ever even say, "Hey, come on up."
Yeah. Here's a real gravy of the day that really gets me. If your Masonic lodge has a Facebook group and it's set to private, you're not doing yourself any good.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose.
No, it's a waste of time.
We're fortunate at Hillsborough. We have a younger. I mean, we still got older brothers, but like all the officers are under 40 right now at Hillsborough.
What's y'all's average age?
I'd say probably 60 right now, just because we got quite a few guys bringing that average up.
Okay.
Ours is down to 50.
Well, did I say 60? I meant 49.
And Mackenzie, I think we're sitting around 55 to 57.
Yeah.
And then in daylight of active members, at least, we're sitting around like 47, 48.
But like I have admin rights on the Facebook page, and also have the district page that I created on my own, and the other guys that have it are younger also, and I don't know. I think that's definitely an advantage, as opposed to having guys in their 60s and you're trying to tell them, because I'm the one posting on my page, right? Like we got 2 or 3 other guys that are posting stuff on the page to keep it lively.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Well, I just don't think it should be left on one person, because obviously pages like that, they kind of take the characteristics of the person who's posting.
Yeah.
Right.
So, even when I went down, which is one of the cool trips that I went on this year, Grand Commandery mid sessions. Now, there were a couple of guys that are like, "Hey, Fluff, what would you think about running Grand Commandery Facebook page or social media, or maybe not running it forever, but stepping in and help guide us while we do it?" I said, "No, because my DNA is too strong. People will see it's me from a mile away.
Yeah,
you got to be able to do it yourself, and it's just repetition." And now we got Jernigan growing around in his truck, making funny jokes and telling funny stories for 2 or 3 minutes while he's driving. I'm like, please don't crash. we need you to finish this year.
Right. Yeah, that's all good stuff. But guys, I want to jump back to our 2022 talk.
We were there. Were we ever?
Did we ever have that talk?
And this is why, because we have a lot of brothers that came online thinking that that's what we were going to do.
Boy, we fooled them.
We need to give them some shout outs, because they're all waiting to hear their city You know, their lodge. So let's do this. Each one of us pick top three, and we'll take round robin. And our special guest first. What's one of the most memorable moments of this year for you?
All right. So first off, has to be Grand Lodge, because that's the first time I've gone to Grand Lodge, right?
Yes,
that was
special.
that was overwhelming. It was super cool. I'm excited to hit it up again this year, and I think I know what I'm going to expect, but I have a feeling it's going to just hit different, right? Second trip.
Oh, it's going to hit different, that's for sure.
Second trip was San Antonio, the Alamo. Here's the reason why on that one. Whenever I had planned my flight and planned the travels and all that stuff, there were supposed to be like 10 other brothers from Lubbock coming with me. And it ended up just being me and my wife and my kids. Now, I know that I'm a little bit known through social media. I knew that I was going to get recognized and all that stuff. 1,000 brothers meeting in one place. And I was recognized, but it was all brotherly love. I mean, I forgot my apron, right?
Right.
And Anthony Trulio, brother from Perfect Union number 10, man, he got me an apron. He set me up. He was like, "Oh, you need to go on a tour." He got like a whole bunch of EAs to take me on a tour of the Scottish Rite Building. I went to places that nobody knew about. We were just opening doors to see if it would open and walk through.
Right.
So that was that was really special, and that was an amazing experience to me. And then I know it's not traveling, but I mean, Most Worshipful Billings, his homecoming back to Lubbock, to see. And here's the thing for me: there were so many Masons from all over the state. It wasn't just Lubbock and Amarillo and Midland representing.
Right.
Everybody was coming to support him, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is really, really, really cool." And that was something special. I mean, grand photographer Greg White took he took my wife out dancing on the dance floor, listening to bands. We were drinking chimneys, margaritas, and sangrias, and I mean, like, it's just not a greater atmosphere of love than whenever you bring your brothers into your own home. So it was really cool to get to show Texas what little Lubbock had to offer there.
Nice.
So those were my top three.
Justin's next, but I'm gonna choose three different ones so that people get to hear about some other stuff. What are your top three?
Well,
Justin?
I'm not going to be as completely creative.
I love San Antonio.
Because I will say that Grand Lodge for several reasons was the first highlight of my year. First and foremost, because as soon as I walked into Grand Lodge, I saw Brother Fluff. And I had never met a Masonic celebrity before, so I was pretty excited.
That was so weird.
It's just a shame we didn't take a picture. But
I know, where'd that picture go? Where did that?
But aside from Fluff, Grand Lodge had a very different atmosphere than it has in the past. There was a lot of excitement. It was very positive, and I'm not saying that it's been negative or anything like that, but it was a very positive atmosphere, and I think a lot of that was due to Most Worshipful Billings leadership.
Well, there was no vote on beer this year, right?
Yeah, no vote on beer.
Right. But no arguments.
Aside from that, I would say traveling in general for officer leadership training. Get to see all the different.
That was a big one for me too.
Different. It's not Scottish Rite. Shrine buildings.
Buildings, yeah.
Fluff was talking about just going around and opening doors. That's what I did. I was in Houston. They got a huge shrine building. I was like, I wonder what's in here, and I just opened the door and walk in, and they had some cleaning ladies just walking around, kind of looking at me weird because I kept just walking around like I owned trying not to look guilty of anything. And I was just walking around, tugging on doors and going in places and stuff. But that was fun. That was really fun. And then I would say the third one was the Lexington. That was something that's been on my bucket list for a long time. It was really, it was well worth it. And I would say if you have not seen the master's degree on the Lexington, this will be the year to do it. It's going.
Why is it going to be the year, Dennis?
Oh,
2023. You'll see.
You'll see.
You'll see soon. Soon to be announced.
Listen, I'm going to need lots of liquid courage to make my way down to Corpus Christi. That's all I'm saying. That's a long drive from Lubbock.
Hey,
It's a
Yep,
long drive.
if I
You know,
knew
I
I
drove-
could bribe
I
you with
drove
booze,
there
I'd
to
brought you
you.
to Hillsborough a long time
I drove
ago.
up there to you, so you know.
That is well, you came all the way to Littlefield that time for the Centennial. That was an
Yep.
impressive drive, and you made
Right.
it kind of on time. I'm
Right.
Dennis was on time for something.
barely.
Yeah, Dennis
Barely.
Lates. Yeah, that's a fact. Dennis Lates.
I think right where Curry was like this with the gavel, and Dennis was like, "Hold on."
Right. But he knows me, so he just, you know, he embraced it. He embraced the moment. He knows. But okay, so now that y'all have given the reasons I love Grand Lodge, as
Red
well,
Raider, Red
and-
Raider says he will drive. He will ride with you, Fluff.
Oh,
There
he's
you go.
driving. I trust his
Nice,
driving.
nice. So the first thing for me, of course, Grand Lodge. I'm just gonna give that as given, so that I have 3 more, because Grand Lodge is always awesome, and it's not just Grand Lodge itself. It's the after events. It's the dinners. It's the balls. It's the, you know, the special things that goes on. It's all the everything that surrounds Grand Lodge is just magical.
It's
it really
the parking lot meeting without the parking lot, baby.
It is.
Well, Dennis
It
was in the
is,
parking
and
lot
so
the whole
it's
time.
very cool. I was selling those damn cases, and I didn't get to see a whole lot because everybody. This time it'll be different. You'll see.
Yeah.
But anyways, so number 1, Holland Lodge.
Oh,
Going
yeah, that
for
was cool.
going for the official visit of Holland Lodge of the Grand Master, and being received as the District Deputy Grand Master in Holland Lodge number 1 in Houston, Texas. That was, man, it
was a week after Grand Lodge, wasn't it?
Yes.
And
It
then
was a
like
moment.
2 weeks after that was freaking San Antonio.
Yes.
Man, it
Y'all
was.
did
It
some
was
traveling
it was,
this year.
it
we
was
got
nonstop.
busy fast. We were going.
Yeah, you hit the ground running.
And it was amazing. There were at every event.
Yeah.
Not no, throw San Antonio out of it, because that was a big one, and that
Yeah.
and that we need to figure out how to make that happen again.
Yeah.
But anyways, besides that, every event had 200 people,
Yeah.
200 plus people. I've never seen that at any Grand Lodge event. I'm sorry. But this past year, I mean, but even at Holland Lodge, I mean, we had like 50 District Deputy Grand Masters show up. So
Yeah.
when we got bunched up, and it was so funny because I was behind brother Maxwell, Charles Maxwell.
Mhm.
And if y'all don't know Charles Maxwell, this brother's bigger than Fluff.
He's a big
and-
dude. He's a big dude.
And we're all lining up, and I'm going into my spot, and it's like, are you kidding me? I can't see the master to do the.
So I was at Grand Lodge. I was walking with my phone out, taking some video, you know, just kind of being like this. And I totally photo
Something came
him.
up.
I'm looking at my phone, and I look at him, and I'm like, good Lord, he don't stop. He's a big guy.
Right. So I was behind him during that, but just going to see all the well, number one, their meals are excellent. They have a superb kitchen there. But going to see all the original memorabilia that they have, oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
list.
treasure trove. It's a treasure trove. And then to be received with the Grand Master in as big of a fashion as it was at Holland Lodge, that's guys.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to do it, even if you don't think you're going to be, DDGM or whatever, go. If you're within the region at the Grand Master's official visit, that's the time to go.
Tim
I'm
Smith,
not worried about my DDGM possibilities. I'm worried about his.
Tim Smith also says he'll go with you to Corpus Fluff.
I mean, let's just go. Let's roll.
You got a whole entourage
Yes.
going,
Yes, they have a heads up though. They know what's coming, or they have an idea.
Yeah, it'd be great if there was something else going on that you could.
So
go to.
what was your third, Dennis? What was your third?
No, that was my first. My
Oh.
Grand
I
Lodge.
Have you
Grand
not listened
Lodge
to
is-
Dennis before?
Everybody wants.
All right, what's your second?
He
What's
doesn't
your
bullet
second? What's
point
your
anything.
Yeah,
My second.
I'm not smart. Just
We need Cliff Note
Goliath.
version. Give us Cliff Notes.
I gotta tell you, Goliath is awesome this year.
Yeah.
The Goliath, the Phantom Memorial that we do every year.
Mhm.
We open a representation of the Grand Lodge of Texas.
Yeah.
All the officers come to this. They always do, and they always
Yeah.
show up. And so they open up in our lodge, and then we go down to the memorial site. And this time we actually did a march near the Presidio and actually made it a big thing. You know, it's always a big thing, but this one was a whole weekend thing. We had an event on Friday night, we had an event on Saturday, we had an event on Saturday night, and then we had an event on Sunday. You know, that's the way every event was, and that's why we had so much participation, because you weren't just running around trying to catch what you can and then go back to your area in one day, right? So people would come in, they'd stay for the weekend and just do it all. And
I loved that.
It was awesome. Yeah. So not only did we have the events, but we had the after events to where we just all sat around and talked Freemasonry and hung out. Heck, I even hung out with G. Clay for quite a while, picking my guitar. But that was number 2. Goliad was an amazing event this year, and I'm so grateful that our lodge was able to pull it off the way they did and with such accuracy. Number 3, Justin.
Drum roll.
Number 3 is in a lodge. Number 3 happened just the other day, and we made we got dispensation to raise a brother that's in the military. He came home. He was initiated. He came home, turned in his work, but we were given dispensation to go ahead and do the remaining degrees.
Right.
So that if something happens overseas with him, he's okay. Right.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and did that, and he was in his sailor's uniform. Oh. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you this story, and this is such an awesome story. Sorry, Justin, you get to fall asleep. So we get dispensation.
I thought you were already telling a story. You're telling a story in a story now, Dennis. It's Inception.
We get dispensation. We get dispensation to do this, and it was close to the wire too. It's funny, but it all came together. And you know, last year we weren't able to do it. He had dispensation last year to do it, but we didn't have enough brothers down there to do it. So this year, though, that even with much confusion in the temple, everyone got together and made it happen for this brother. And what was so special about it is that this year and this is another event that I really enjoyed that we put on here. This year, we also have a military Mason's pin. Yeah. That lapel pin that the Grand Master created for our military brothers. And so immediately following that degree, and he had his grandfather, his uncle, and his dad there with him, right? So they are all 3 actively working in his degree. Right. And so we get done, and of course I have the Grand Master's lapel pin, the silver one that everybody buys. And then I also had one of his moonstone lapel pins, the one that I wore all year. Yeah. To all of the Grand Master's events. So
which is my favorite pin ever. That's my favorite Masonic purchase of the year for sure. Yeah. And Billings got like hundreds of dollars for me. That's for sure.
Right. I've got several because I'm making cufflinks out of mine and a pocket watch fob. But anyways, so not only I was able to as DDGM, I was able to, after the degree and everything was over, we brought them all up to the altar, and I was able to give the uncle one pin, and then I was able to give the grandfather the Masonic pin to give to him.
Oh, cool.
And then I was able to personally give my lapel pin to his dad to give to him, which I love him. Everett, love you, brother. It was one of my favorite parts of the whole year. That's cool. Everett and Mason Wood, if he wasn't expected to be a Mason, right? Yeah. Everett is the dad, and Mason is the son, and Everett and Mason, I was able to give him that on behalf of Most Worshipful and this, and that was just a beautiful event. And I got to tell you, if you've never seen somebody go through the process, the rituals with a uniform on, you're missing out. Yeah. Man, I just teared up. I goosebumped up. I mean, it was just seeing this young form of this guy that's about 200 pounds lighter,
Yeah.
and in his military uniform, and
Yeah.
he's in the Navy, so it was a Navy uniform. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Which he did not allow his uncle and grandfather to poke lapel pins through his uniform.
I wouldn't either.
I'm just going to say that, for the record, Colonel,
Yeah.
General, whatever, Admiral. I know I'm bad. So
Well,
that was the last Master Mason of my district, and that was the most beautiful thing. And everybody came together on December 21st
oh, that's cool.
to do
That's
that.
really
No, it was December 20th to do that.
Yeah.
What were you
So
gonna
everybody came together at Christmas.
What were we gonna add, Fluff?
Oh, I need to amend mine a little bit because there is something that no. I mean, that's a
Right,
fantastic story, but I got to say this because I hope it changes. This is the first time I've ever been a part of any special dispensation, right? And it is commandery wise, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
well,
that's a good
we
one.
had the first outdoor order of the temple in the state of Texas, in Camp Post, Texas,
And it looked
which
awesome.
was an amazing event in itself. Like, I mean, it got me pumped. It got everybody else pumped. I'm blessed to be asked to be one of the organizers of the events. We have a great team of 7 guys that really worked our butts off to make it happen in 2 months. In 2
Nice.
months, we had enough housing for 200 guys, enough food for 200 guys. It was crazy, but in that outdoor order of the temple, and this is probably one of my most proudest reasons to be a Mason this year. We do have a brother. I'm not going to give out his name, just for HIPAA reasons and whatnot. He had a stroke, a massive stroke. He was the first person to sign up for that outdoor order of the temple, and he had a stroke like 2 days before it went down. Right. So much. It's bad. Like, complete right side paralyzed. He's going to be fighting this for years to come. Right.
Right.
And he was bummed out, and his family was kind of in a terrible situation. And guys, we've probably almost raised him like almost tens of thousands of dollars worth of cash, stuff, gift cards.
I heard them talking about that on your live the other day.
Yeah, fast food stuff and all of that. And then just this last week, we've gotten special dispensation from Commander Jernigan to give him the order of the temple.
Nice.
We're gonna have to do it different. We're gonna have to push him around in
Very
wheelchair,
cool.
do things in a different way. But he will be the last knight made last knight knighted in the state of Texas for 2022.
Very cool.
And then
Nice.
his birthday, we didn't know it, is January 1st is his birthday.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
He gets to come into the
So
new year as a Sir Knight,
what
and
day-
that's going to be really cool.
So he's gonna be the last night on the last night of 2020.
The last night on the last night of 2022.
Nice.
So
That
Saturday.
is awesome.
If anybody is in the Lubbock area and is in Commandery, wants to do a night, this is going to be a good one. You're definitely going to see Fluff cry. Definitely going to see
for
me
sure.
cry.
Well, brothers,
But-
Sure.
we could do this another 2 hours, but it's getting late.
No, let's go.
I
I love it, man. I love hanging out.
I love it too. I love it too. But it is. I told my wife I would be quite as late as I am. So we'll have to do another continuation of this at some point.
Well, thank y'all for letting me be on
Absolutely.
tonight. I really appreciate it,
I
guys.
hopped on TikTok the other night. It was like 2 a.m, and there's Fluff talking to like 4 guys on TikTok. Like, man, this guy just didn't stop. But Fluff, if you hang tight after we turn off the live, I'll
Yeah.
Dennis, I don't care. I'll spoil it for you. I'll tell you what's coming up.
Yeah. And then
Awesome.
what we need to do is we'll need to get together during the post Grand Lodge.
Yeah.
We're
Go
and
live
have
together
a
post Grand Lodge.
in Waco.
Lord.
Yes. And then we'll reveal this.
Yeah.
And that way
Alright.
you can reveal it to yours as we reveal it to ours, and we'll do it all together.
We're going to need some big internets for that one, guys.
We'll use all the interwebs in Waco.
All the interwebs at Waco.
All right, so
Yes.
I'm going to close off this live. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll definitely do this again.
Yes, absolutely.
So
And brothers, if there's friends, if there's anyone out there who has enjoyed what we've said, subscribe. If you want to become a member, we have options for that as well, which gets you discounts on gear as well as